Shore City Council meeting to order. Abby, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby?
Here.
Councilmember Burgess?
Here.
Councilmember Karen?
Here.
Councilmember Frederick?
Present.
Councilmember Rubello?
Here.
Councilmember Rusi?
Here.
Councilmember Vitale?
Here.
A quorum is present.
Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stand up for the flag for the count. Item 2 is proclamations and presentations. We don't have any, but I think it's incumbent upon myself to discuss the Jefferson project here that has definitely a buzz out there. So I'd like to talk about the Jefferson Sewer Relief Project, if you indulge me for a few moments. I know what has become the big issue, of course, is right at the 10-mile and going north on Jefferson Avenue. But I'd just like to, again, we've probably heard it before, but I'd like to just go back over the project for a moment. So again, indulge me on a little bit of this. So the Jefferson Relief Sewer Project, right, at the end of the day is about water quality, about in the north end assisting in basement backups, but truthfully about water quality. About less discharges of combined sewer overflows into Lake St. Clair. That is what this whole project is, and the project is in essence been funded without from the federal government because we got ARPA money and it has come through Kevin Hertel and John James, but the lion's share has come from Commissioner Miller and the county. They're the ones who have assisted in using their funding to help do this project. So at the end of the day, when this project is completed, the combined sewer overflows that flow from Rio Vista, because that's where it ends up. It goes out Rio Vista, the building there that sits on the northwest corner of Jefferson. It goes down there, down Rio Vista into an old pipe that's built in 1929, 1,000 feet out there, and discharges in there. And many times it's in an average year, we're discharging 8-9 times a year. The goal here is to get under 50% less, so we'd be maybe at 4. At the end of the day, you're talking millions and millions of combined sewer overflows that will be pulled out of the system, and we all have heard about water quality, you know, for years, and this is, again, what we're trying to do. But this project, again, is not a city project. It is the SCMSD, Sanitary Southeast Macomb Sanitary District project. They handle the sanitary flow in the city of St. Clair Shores, Roseville, and East Point. We, just in the city here, the Hoffman Pump Station, the Rio Vista Pump Station, and the Martyr Road Booster Station. Those 3 stations are handled by the SCMSD. Again, this is who the project is running. It is a 60-inch pipe that goes from Bon here to 9 Mile Road. If you go from Bon here north of the city limits and go from 9 Mile south of the city limit, there's 2 pipes. Why at 2000, when we did the Lake St. Clair Water Initiative, they didn't put the second pipe in is irrelevant now, but there isn't. So there is a constriction here in this area. So that's why we've put the 60-inch pipe we're putting in here. So again, there will not have that bottleneck, and we'll be able to hold more, send more to Chapaton, and again, at the end of the day, not just discharge into Lake St. Clair. That's the whole goal. A very challenging project. Why challenging? A couple of reasons. Jefferson, it's a boring project. In most cases, it's boring. We have done some open cuts, but mostly it was boring. The way Jefferson curves makes it very challenging. You have to keep bringing the boring machine up, bringing it back down. It's not a straight line. You can't just run it straight down, because if it was a straight line, we'd put that boring machine in one time and go all the way down, but you can't, so you got to keep picking it up and bringing it in. Tough. Because you have to bring them up and then set it in there. It takes sometimes weeks. You have 19 side streets. There's always things in the way of those 19 side streets, sewers, sanitary sewers that we have to lift. Issue 25 feet down too. So this is not a pipe that's close. It's deep down that they're digging. And when you dig that deep, there's all kinds of infrastructure that is part of that whole digging. That makes it the challenging part of the project. We are at now 10 Mile. I would tell you the Stevens Relief was the first real challenge we had. That's at Trombley and Kramer right in there, where the Stevens drain, which is the lake, comes right at us. We had to make sure we got under there, and telling you that you're less than a foot under that pipe. So that was a difficult one. We are through that. We are out now at 10 Mile. So the sanitary leads that crosses 10 Mile, we had to shut 10 Mile Road down because you got to raise that in order for the pipe to go underneath that. There's not enough room to keep 10 Mile open, so that's why 10 Mile at this point is shut down, so we can raise that, again, raise that sewer so that we can put our sewer and keep going south or north. We hope, well, we know it'll be done by June 12th, meaning 10 Mile will be open again by June 12th. All honesty, we're hoping a little earlier, but you always have issues. So far, it's gone very well, but we're hoping, if we can, open it sooner, but guaranteed, June 12th, that we'll have that open, 10 Mile be open. So that's the 10 Mile issue. We had to make the change. We have always, the project, when it started way back, was always to go one way north on 10 Mile. We've had a number of meetings before. We met at Zep's even before the project. The last business meeting we had was April 9th right here in the chambers. And we have, again, always been saying it's one way north on Jefferson Avenue. We knew the businesses didn't like that. They didn't want that, right, north of 10 Mile. So Rick Menn, AEW, we worked to see if we couldn't open and have north and southbound traffic there. It started that way for a couple of weeks as they were doing it, and two things happened. A safety concern for their employees. Second, the water line was closer to the westbound southerly Jefferson Lane than thought. Even though when you have prints and you say, well, this is where it is, it doesn't always turn out that way. More times than I care to realize that they're not perfect. It was closer. It undermined the south lane there with all the sand, and it became determined that it was not feasible to continue to drive on that lane. It was a safety issue. So those were the two safety issues that immediately went back to going north only on Jefferson Avenue. So that's what occurred there. And then once it went north, we then started to put up the barricades, right? We put up a message board, and that occurred on Tuesday. The 26th, I think, is that date of May is when we put up the message board. Just looking, yep, the 26th. We put up the message board on Jefferson Avenue, telling the detour to go right, head down Harper Avenue because Jefferson was going to be closed at Lakeland. The message board and some of those signs did not work well enough. They have continued to go through, as they still do now. Then on Friday, we put up more detour signs. We took one lane from Jefferson. We took Jefferson at 11 Mile down to one lane on Jefferson, trying to push that traffic to go down to the detour, down Harper, down 11 Mile Road to Harper. And then just past 11 Mile Road on Jefferson, we put up more barricades that said, road closed, local traffic only. So you only have now one lane to go here. Again, a sign that says local traffic, road closed. People are still, of course, going. I'm hoping it's less. I think it's a little bit less, but they're still breaking through. That's the most the SEMSD do. We can't close that road there, and I'm not sure I think that's a good idea because there's 25 streets between 11 Mile Road and Lakeland. If you take them on both sides, it's a lot of residents who need to, go there. You'd end up pushing that traffic all the way down side streets. And then the police department was good. They put up a traffic at Lakeland, said no left turn because that's what pulls a lot of the backup on Lakeland. If when you get to Lakeland here, taking that left is a tough left, starts backing it up. So we did put a sign that says right turn only. Unfortunately, people aren't obeying that either, right? They're sticking their nose out in the traffic there, or they're just waiting, and it just starts to back up and back up. And yes, we've had 10, 12 cars. I think people have seen that on Channel 7. So it's unfortunately a problem. We get it. I wish people would obey the detour and have Jefferson between 11 Mile Road and Lakeland be residents only, because that's what it is. I know it's a bigger pain, but that's what we have to do at this point. I'm not saying that Jefferson North will be down to one lane the entire project. It could be. We constantly reevaluating to see what we can do. So we understand. We're not. We feel for the businesses. We understand it's a problem. So we've got to continue to try to reevaluate that. But we also have safety issues that we have to be concerned about. So we are on time. I know it seems like, when's this thing ever going to end? But it is on time. The pipe should be in place by February or March of '27. That means it'll hook up at Bon here. That's where it hooks up, right in front of Shore Point. That should be February and March. The cement, they're paving as fast as they can. Unfortunately, the bottleneck will be obviously the pipe, right? We can't cement past the pipe. So our goal will be north of 10 Mile on both sides. We hope to lay cement on the west side of Jefferson in the next week or two here, up to Frizard. But the whole west side of Jefferson, 10 Mile area, should be done by mid-August, and then it will flip to the east side of Jefferson, and then hopefully that'll all be done by Thanksgiving. So, it should be, the cement should be north of 10 Mile Road by Thanksgiving. I can't tell you exactly how far the pipe will be, but the pipe should be past docks, should be, hoping past Harbor Lanes in that area. Again, you never know what you run into. You can't say that this week we'll do this because something occurs or something's not right. So it's a very fluid, I'm sure we all know that. These projects are fluid, especially when you're digging 25 feet down. So that's where we are. Maybe at the fact we didn't communicate well enough maybe to the community that, we were going to go to the one lane. We immediately had to go. We don't want to stop this project. I mean, we did hear complaints on Saturday. My gosh, you're still out there working. We have to keep working. We want to make sure that we get this thing done. We're all cognizant of getting out of this road as fast as possible. And so we continue to work on Saturday. At least Florence, who's laying the cement, is doing that. But I would just say, we have said over and over, this is going to be north would be one lane. So we have always said that. We'll continue to evaluate that, but for safety issues at this point, it has to be where it's at. So I just wanted to give an overview. I'm glad to answer a question or that from anyone or just move on. But that's the state of where we're at. I think I hopefully highlighted, I know, so. And, Sir, I know I keep telling you, you were here last meeting, you got to be. I'm sorry, no, it's the council member, sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll check it out.
Thank you. Mr. Vitale.
All I was going to say is that, there is a little bit of silver lining here. I suppose if you're residents, you can do the businesses a lot of good because a lot of those businesses that are normally so crowded, I've been to 3 of them in the last 3 days, Mike's, Waves, this afternoon, Johnny Black's. If you know the side streets around there to get to them, this is an opportunity to not have to stand in line for 2 hours. So, and of course, they need the business.
They do.
So.
Ms. Burgess.
Just because, we saw all the complaining, across Facebook. I got a message today from a friend of mine that said, ran into Mike Lefevre at lunch at Z's today. I asked him if construction was impacting his business. He said last week they had the best week they've ever had since 2017. In his words, if they want to come see you, they'll find a way. And there are ways, there is detours giving you, even on Greater Mac, they're giving you what road to go down to get to what restaurant, and that's really helpful. So do please frequent those businesses. It might be a little bit trying to get there, but they need you.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, as the board member for St. Clair Shores for the SMSD, obviously myself, Mayor Kleinfeld, East Point, Mayor Taylor of Rosemont, my other board members have been basically the overseers of this project this whole time. Obviously, Tuesday mistakes were made in terms of signage, communication. We get that. Apologize to all the residents on Lakeland. I can't imagine what that would have been like of waking up in the morning and you got a whole line of cars down the road. So greatly apologize for that. Driving through, I think the signage is definitely a lot better. I think the signs pointing where the businesses are, how to get to them, docks, Baffin, Pat O'Brien's, Brunch with Me, is a big help as well. And like Councilman Vitale said, support the businesses through this. And to reiterate what the mayor said, the project is actually on time. Surprisingly, for as large of a project this is and as complex the project it is very well within budget, which is amazing from other projects that we've had and from other large projects around the county. it's a rarity that is actually running a budget. And the contractor is the best around to do this. But it's a very tight area, especially when we got to that part. They tried to do the 2 lanes, as the mayor said. It just wasn't going to be safe, and there's structural issues that we're going to have to deal with. So it went back to what the original plan was, unfortunately having only a northbound lane available as we get through this portion of the project. But just to reiterate, we're pushing the contractor. They're out there every day. It's tunneling, so even if you don't see anything going on, the tunneler's still moving. They're still pulling material out. This isn't like the open cut areas they've done where you see work every day. It is a very ongoing project, and I know Florence, they are very much on board with paving the road as fast as they can to quality. We're not going to sacrifice quality for this, but so that we can get Jefferson done and move on to the next stages of the project and get out of the way of all these businesses. So, but again, to the residents on Lakeland, greatly apologize for this last week. Hopefully, it's a lot better going forward. These traffic changes, sometimes it takes a week for everyone to kind of get the pattern. I think when we first started this, we had to start at 9 in Jefferson, the very beginning of the project, we had a lot of issues, just because it took a while for people to learn the pattern.
Yes.
So hopefully, it'll be better going forward. So,
And
with that.
I concur with the councilman. We put up the message board when we were down 11 Mile Road, and I guess I used the word aggressive. It wasn't aggressive enough to push them and tell them you can't come here. And once we recognized that, which we recognized it with the disaster on Lakeland, we immediately got out there, and it took a couple days to get that ordered and get it placed up. We got it Friday morning, but it was bad, and no question a mistake. We didn't put enough signage up there to get that job done and alert the residents. Mr. Rubello.
Thank you, Mayor. Going back to the signs again, I'd like to see bigger signs, and I think we've talked about this, bigger signs that get Greater Mac, because some of them are, the lawn sign things aren't, I don't think, big enough for people to see, Denise. I know I've talked with you about that before. But if the businesses themselves want to put any signs up, I would ask that we be a little bit more lenient, which we already may be lenient with them. But if somebody wants to go up to Greater Mac and put a sign down for their restaurant with an arrow saying, hey, cut up this street, or even on the Harper, because I'd like to see the people fanned out that are using the roads and, using some of the other side streets, not just the one major, side street that we send them up. But sometimes they just have to look and see where they're going, and hopefully the signage on Mac or even Harper, Greater Mac or Harper, if they think it helps them, I just want to, maybe we can lessen some of the ordinance on that for the time being until these projects are all over with. And for those of you who might be listening, use the side streets out there, fan out. You don't have to use the same ones, because if you just take a look sometimes, you'll find it's not as hard to get to these restaurants as you might think it is. So I'm not saying it's all easy, and hopefully the bigger picture is we're going to have a cleaner lake and less discharges, which was the goal of the whole thing in the first place. So stick in there and patronize the Nautical Mile. They need your help right now. Okay? That's all I have.
Ms. Rusi.
Hey, thank you. Well, first off, thank you for addressing this and giving the details and communicating, especially at the beginning of the meeting versus putting this more toward the end. This is a lengthy agenda, so
yes.
I think this is the good way to get some information out. That said, in retrospect, we probably should put this literally on the agenda for people to know, because people who are interested in this might have been able to tune in and see this portion and they wouldn't have known this was being discussed. So if people are watching, we do have a bunch of people in the audience, which is good, but there's a lot more people out there who I think would find this information to be pretty compelling. Perhaps we could excerpt this particular portion. The mean communications could do that and post it on social media, just these 5-10 minutes, however it's long. been 15
Yes,
minutes.
great idea.
And that way, if people are interested, they could watch it just right online without having to find it within whatever 3-hour meeting this is going to be. I mean, I could direct people, hey, watch it here, you guys start at 7:05 to this, but if we could just maybe get this chunk out and start to use some of our social media capabilities to get some of this information, I think that would help, especially having been on Facebook and everything, seeing where some of the issues are. I think having this information be able to be easily distributed that way would be helpful.
Sure, good idea.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Frederick,
Just to round it out, I have one word for everybody
Give your
driving out
mic.
there. I'm sorry. I have one word for everybody driving out there. It's called patience. We're seeing a lot of aggression, so we're hoping that it doesn't cause any craziness, but just be patient. Going down a street, making a turn, whatever it is, or if it's stopped because there's a truck out in the only lane that's open, right? And they got to get that in because it's got sand or whatever, so just be patient.
and we will get on social media because I think 10 Mile will help, opening 10 Mile. So again, I know they've indicated to us that June 12th would be open, but if we get it earlier, we will get that out to, Facebook and to the webpage, because I think that will
Yes.
really help. You won't have to go down Frizard. Now the detour is going down Frizard, and it's definitely much harder. Coming now down 10 Mile and making that left-hand turn, I think will really assist. So we will get that out once 10 Mile is open, and we're hoping it's open soon. You don't know how much I'm hoping it's soon. With that, we will go to audience participation, a 2-minute item to speak regarding agenda items only. Abby?
We don't have any.
So we have item 4 is a public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget and millage rate. So before we go to set the millage rates for tax, I'm going to open this up. A public hearing to discuss an opinion or whatever on millage rates, tax bills, sanitary sewer rates, water rates, storm user charge, or the budget. Do we have anyone here that would like to speak regarding those items? Just those items there. It's a public hearing for any of those items. Sir, on those items? Yes, sir. You have to come, sir, you have to come to the podium regarding these 5 items and state your name and the city you live in. That's it, just the city you live in, your name, and again, it's regarding the budget and the millage rates, et cetera. Yes, sir.
I heard you say the sewage, and I thought that also.
Yeah, the sanitary sewer rates.
Right, okay. It's not so much on the rates.
Your name, sir. and
Oh,
where
I'm
you
sorry,
live.
my name is Leon Allen. I'm a citizen of St. Clair Shores.
Thank you.
It's not so much the rate, sir.
Yes.
It's the inconsistency with our garbage being picked up.
Okay.
I mean, since we switched to the other company, to the new company, I mean, just this past last week, and I understand the holiday was there, even though I came up here about another issue, but since you brought that up, I mean, the
Yep.
people that they switched to, they're horrible.
Okay, I get it. I understand. That's not exactly the
Oh, I'm
topic,
sorry,
but ironically,
I know the
you would,
millage goes independent
you
from that,
would,
sir.
you would have qualified under item 3 because we have it on under 6K. So you
Okay,
would have
my fault.
qualified, sir. So we got you. You did it a little
It's
differently,
just
but it's
they-
good.
They're horrible. They're not consistent.
We understand you don't like priority waste, so we're going to talk about it under 6K. So appreciate it. Anyone else before? We'll close the public hearing regarding the budget, et cetera. So that we will go into 4A is the set the millage rates for tax bills. Glenn?
So the public hearing we just had, so each year, the utility rates must be established prior to the adoption of the annual budget based on the utility rate calculations and the need to maintain.
Yeah, the millage rates, 4A. We just had the public hearing,
Yep.
so now we have to
Sorry. City Council,
adopt them.
the City Council of St. Clair Shores, our property tax rate is attached in your packet. The operating is 8 mils, so it'll be the charter limit is 8. The published amount is 5.3208. Sanitation is maximum charter limit is 3.
Is there a way we could get the chart on the overhead so
Yes.
the audience could see it? Because it's, hearing just these numbers, I think it would help to have the visual for the audience.
Do you have that, Matt? Okay.
Thank you.
So in your packet, you have our operating, so I'm going to take this a little bit different then. Operating, our sanitation, our public act of 349, our police and fire operating, our streets, our library, our Lake St. Clair Clean Water Initiative, and then we also have our Act 345, which is our police and fire pension millage. Each one of those, if you could blow that, could you blow it up a little bit?
There's also the table at the last page of the packet too, with the color and everything. I'm not sure if that's too in-depth, but that's a good one too to show.
Yep. So on this one right here, our levying amount for our current fiscal year, which is 2025 through 2026, was 23.5621. Our published amount in the current packet for 26-27 is 23.6683. Those are your millage rates, and as you can see on our board, the maximum rates and each published rate for each one of these.
Questions? Ms. Rusi?
Hey, I do have a question, but it's on the millage rate table, the last page of the thing. Is that? Okay. Just a quick question, and I'm sure there's a reason, but I just can't think of it right now. So I figured it'd just be easier to ask you for the NIMAT DDA parcels only. The levy in 25-26 was 1.9716. The proposed is 1.9997. Why is that bigger? Usually they get smaller with the Headley.
Yep, I'll pass that over to
Yeah,
you.
I'm sure there's a reason. If I'm asked, I don't know what that is right now.
So as you are well aware, we have a Headley rollback, and we have to roll back. So last year, we actually had a rollback for our city in total, but the DDA is actually its own subcategory, and they got rolled back with the city millages. However, because the DDA properties in total themselves did not require a Headley rollback, it got rolled back, which we could always allocate less than we can more. This year, we actually did have a rollback in the DDA district, so there is a rollback, but it was from the original 2.0.
Oh, okay, so-
Because we had rolled it back from last year. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, okay, so it was, the charge state limits is 2 when we passed it. It was in 25-26, 1.9716, and then it's now higher at 1.9997.
And in 2025-26, that could have been 2 because it was a rollback of the entire city. So the DDA got rolled back, even though the DDA area itself did not require a rollback.
Okay, I thought there'd be a reason. I still really don't understand it, but as long as I know it's intentional, I'll think about that. Because it's it's different than the full city millages where they always decrease every year as Headley rolls it back.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ravello?
Thank you, Mayor. Candace just asked about, the Headley rollback. I was gonna cross that one off my list.
Councilman, you get your mic on?
It's fallen. It fell down.
Thank you.
Anyways, we handled the one with the Headley rollback, because I remember something like that had come up last year. And can you just go over, just real briefly, about the storm and sanitary in the water for clarity?
Yes, that will be on our next agenda item.
Yes,
This is
yes.
just
We'll
the
do it on
millage
the-
rates.
okay.
Yeah, well, we're gonna, one at a time, the
Okay.
millage rates, if we don't have other questions, a motion, again,
Okay.
a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Councilwoman Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, 7-0. Now, 4B is the ordinance amendment to the sanitary sewer rates. And just, I don't know if we highlighted this, but on April 27th, as we usually do last week, most times in April, we have budget sessions here and we go over the next year's budget. So this is not the first time we have seen this. We've had budget hearings already. Each department did come in front of us and discuss each one of these departments here and their categories and the rates, et cetera. So that was on the 27th of April. Back to you, Mr. Lent.
Yep. So on item B, I'm going to bring John Walters up to kind of.
Okay, yep.
So typically, every year, I think in the past few years, we've contracted with AEW to come up with various rates, and then the council selects the rate that is recommended by the city manager, the finance director. So This year, I did that in-house. I used their template and did a sensitivity analysis with what would happen to the fund balance in the sanitary sewer fund and the water fund if there was no change in rates. What would happen to the rates if we wanted to balance the budget, and then what would the rates be if we wanted to mirror what was in the budget document that was presented at the workshop. So the recommendation is the third option, to get the rates to equal the revenue that's in the budget that was presented on April 27th. So, GLWA increased their water rates 4.7%. SEMSD increased their sewer rates 6.2%. The recommendation would be to increase our sewer charge only 5%, which is less than what SEMSD increased their rates, mainly because all the other expenses within that fund are increasing less than 6.2, so we only need an increase of 5. But for water, since we have some large water main projects going on, and in order to get the revenue requirement to pay for that, we need to increase water about 6.7%.
Okay, well,
whereas,
let's see.
Right, okay.
So let's just try to
Okay.
stay with B. Questions on B? Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Given this is amendment of an actual ordinance, not just a resolution or anything, there is something I would like to correct in it. Where it says at the end, the ordinances shall become effective upon publication by a city clerk, then they have the posting requirements. We're still listing the bulletin board at the police station as 27665 Jefferson, which I don't believe the construction's at a point where they have a publicly available bulletin board yet at the police station. So we probably want to change that to the police administration at St. Lucie address. Because I think we've been doing postings there, and also still says library at 2250011. Again, I don't think we'll be posting this at the library for residents to take a look at, because they won't be at the library because it's still being renovated. So we'll want to tweak the notification places in the language when we pass it. And this also may apply to, the other ones too. I believe this is just a carryover from a previous year and it wasn't updated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ribello?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this really is designed, these rates are to cover the costs of our utilities and making sure everything's up and running.
Correct, yep. To
Okay.
mirror what's in the budget for adoption.
Okay, and how much has this one changed from the last one that we did? It's pretty,
The rate would have went up 5%, so.
that's really from a lot of costs going up on other people's ends too.
Yeah, it's wages and fringes for our employees, as well as other costs that have increased from last year. And the charges from SEMSD, the treatment charges are 6.2% higher than they were last year. So our increase is only 5%.
Okay. and-
Because Gleewood continues to increase their rates all the way upstream.
Yes.
So it just sort of follows itself
Yes.
up like that.
Domino.
And I guess the other question I just wanted to, I think you said something about, does this cover the costs even, this rate, does it even cover the cost of the whole thing?
Yes, it will cover all operating costs for fiscal '27
Okay.
that are in the budget.
All right, I'll move to approve the amendment to utility rate ordinance 25.060, chapter 42, section 42.28, A, parentheses, 268, parentheses, wastewater rates, charges, and fees as recommended by the finance director.
Moved by Mr.
And
Ribello.
city manager.
And then supported by Mr. Frederick. And of course, Mr. Ribello, those are with the changes that Mr. Lenton will make regarding Ms. Rusi's posting.
Correct.
That's correct, and you supported that. Mr. Frederick?
Right, with a comment.
Yes, Mr. Frederick?
So for and John, thank you for putting this chart in here. It's sort of an averaging chart, cost to a typical residential user. And it shows that the rate would be $4.25 per month increase, $4.25. So that's
Yep, and that includes water and sewer.
Water and sewer.
Net total increase between the two of them combined.
Right. So I appreciate you putting that in there. That kind of puts it in perspective for everybody that has to use water and sewer in our city. So, thank you.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. John, I think in terms of the table that you put together, that actually has also the projections going out 5 years. I think one thing to look at going forward is the appropriate fund balance level for the sanitary sewer fund. I'm going to go back 13 years, 14 years, something like that. I remember with conversation we had with the finance director of what should be the emergency, capital, reserve, and at that time it was 6 million, but it was for everything. It was water, storm, and sanitary altogether. So I've been looking for, hey, what should be the right amount for emergencies, that capital be held there, or whether we should be looking at doing more sanitary projects if our engineering firms can keep up with it. We're taxing them quite a bit as it is in terms of the number of projects we have going on, especially in this upcoming budget we'll talk about in a minute. But
Well, one thing with the water and sewer funds are, since they're enterprise funds, we should look at working capital.
Correct.
And not fund balance, because
Right.
the fund balance is going to be way too high because there's so many assets, but they're not liquid, right? They're pipes under the streets, and so if we look at working capital, I can definitely do that.
yeah, if you can figure out, and they'll go for all three.
Yeah.
Of what those appropriate numbers should be, so that, because I think, especially if we're looking at like $1 million in capital, but we have 9 million in the bank, that doesn't seem to be the same rate. It's definitely not the same ratio we have in the other funds.
Correct,
in that.
okay.
So, I think that's maybe one assignment to take back out of this, so, but, do appreciate you doing all the rates yourself, figuring out the formulas, so all that's in-house. I thank you for taking that on.
Yep, I just want to also, just for council's clarity, for the sanitary only, currently with the fund balance of 9 million, that does include the 2.7 that we transferred out of the Lock St. Clair to do the matching funds for that. So it's kind of estimated a little bit higher than really what it is, because 2.7 is going to go for the other project that matches the John James funding and on some of the other large sewer project that we'll have in front of us later on.
Yeah, and at the bottom though, it carries that 9 million all the way across.
Yeah.
Right, so it
And
didn't
it's
show
gonna be
being
spent.
spent, so yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Burgess?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand the three categories that we're looking at. No change, balance the budget, and if rates were set to the proposed budget. So if the report indicates that it would take 23.4% increase to fully balance the water fund, but we're wanting to propose today to do the 6.7% increase in water rates. How long can we keep that up before we're going to have a larger, a larger increase?
I think that the capital, the normal capital outlay per year is about 2.5 million, and I think we're up over 6 million this year for fiscal '27. So I think, rather than raising the rates 23% and then next year dropping them back down, take a gradual approach and smooth it would be better.
All right, thanks. It also says, even though the sanitary sewer rate is higher than what is needed to balance the budget, this proposed rate will set aside additional fundings for future capital projects. And we have future ones already, being considered.
Yeah, well, there's the separation project.
Sunnydale.
Yeah, Sunnydale, and I think there's more on the horizon that are needed. So, I mean, it doesn't set aside much. It's $62,000, but it's something, so.
All right, thank you.
Motion was made by Mr. Rubello, supported by Mr. Frederick, to approve the sanitary sewer rates, of course, with the change in the, where we publish them and post them. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0, thank you. 4C is ordinance amendment to water rates. John? Dustin?
I'll let John.
John?
So same thing, the sewer rates and the water rates were considered together. In past, AEW did an analysis for us. I did it this year with their template, And then I'm coming up with a 6.7% increase from last year to equal what is in the budget for approval. There's going to be a deficit, but that is because of the capital outlay that's in fiscal '27.
Questions? Mr. Rebello?
Jen, last year, was it around 5.4, the increase?
I believe so, yeah, it was 5-something. So this year it's a little bit more. But we have a lot of capital that we have to pay for, and the working capital in the water fund is getting low,
And
so.
these are these things, I know, I think it drives us all crazy with the water rates, and they go up, and then you think you're using less water, and your bill's still higher or the same. It seems to be a universal thing here, but really, these are again for infrastructure repairs. Is that why we're doing the rate hikes?
Yep, and there's endless repairs needed, so.
It's just an aging system, and I know all of us, it just, where's the end to the water rate, pricing, but it's.
I agree.
an
I
old
live in the
system.
city, so it's a delicate dance for me. I want to keep it as low as possible for my purposes, but I don't, I want the
Like
fund to stay
people,
healthy too.
There's people like, hey, I'm the only one in the house, or it's me and my wife, and the things just keep going up, and we're using less water, but it's the infrastructure stuff that's doing that.
Well, yes, and if that's the case, they can come into City Hall and we can check to see if they have a leak. That could be, if it's abnormally high.
John, that's a good point, because I've sent a few people in, and it's worked out in the residents' favor.
Right.
So, thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mr. Vitale?
Just to build on that a little bit, one of the things that's not being discussed in any of our statewide races, or maybe I should say Metro Detroit campaigns for various state offices, is the fact that this GLWA is basically built out of the ashes of the old Detroit water system, which I think is 12 years ago now since bankruptcy. And one of the ways that they were able to kind of sneak this through is they promised no more than a 4% annual raise for 10 years, which they stuck to, and they got their full 4% most every one of those years. But that all went away after those 10 years, and now we're 2 years into this, and we're seeing rates that are much above that, which really says to me, when they did this 12 years ago, they didn't do it right. And the current system is absolutely unsustainable. I mean, if I were just starting out from scratch right now, I would think that I'm probably just going to move to a place where I can go on a well. Because, as you see right along here with the 4.7% increase in water rates, 6.2% in sewer rates, which are all tied to each other, it also says water sales projection is a 2.3% decrease. So everyone's natural reaction to the ever-increasing water rates is to use less water, which then means they bring in less revenue, maybe a little more because it jacked their rates up even higher, but not what they were bringing in the year before because they're just not selling as much water. So you have just a systemic problem where I don't know anyone who can even water their lawns anymore. I don't see sprinklers on anymore. And this is just unsustainable. So the question is, why is no one at the state level, which is where this grand bargain was made, proposing a solution to this? And it probably requires state money. Does state get involved in this? Because not just the St. Clair Shores problem, it's a Roseville, East Point, Novi, Livonia, anybody else that's on GLWA's water system is really where this is at. So, I think maybe we've done this before. We've sent resolutions up to Lansing. Maybe we should talk to some of our neighboring cities and see if there's a taste for that, because we've got to get this kind of into the news and into the election cycle. I see all these proposals to eliminate the state income tax and to eliminate property tax, and great. I love any of that. But you know what? What's not being practically done is something that needs to be done, and that is addressing Metro Detroit's water system, which is built on an absolutely unsustainable model. And they like it that way, by the way, because you guys out there in the audience thinks, well, all you see is St. Clair Shores on the water bill. But we have to buy our water from GLWA. And if we eat the costs, it just comes out of general funds and you end up paying anyways. But the state likes it that way because your anger stays at the first level of government and you don't go to the state, which is the one who really put this disaster of a system together and forced us all into it. So, you know, maybe at some point, we just got to get this out there. We got to get it talked about because this is a systemic failure at the state level. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Rusi?
Oh, thank you. I would be interested in looking at a resolution of some sort, just to communicate me. We're at a point right now, we have 3 state reps who cover St. Clair Shores. You know, we have, that's 3 potential voices maybe helping us out. We have a state senator who is a St. Clair Shores resident, so maybe we do have some people who would help listen at the state level and maybe get some attention to this. It's worth having a conversation at least. 2 points on this. Again, with the posting ordinance language that needs to be updated with the addresses, just like the previous one. And whoever reads it, if you read the recommended motion, there's a typo in it. It states we're amending chapter 55. We're not. This is chapter 45. The recommendation's correct, but the recommended motion says 55 instead of 44. I'm sorry, 44. So it needs to say chapter 44, not 55. So if you read it verbatim, just make that update, Dave.
It's updated. Got it.
Thank you.
Ms. Burgess?
One thing that I did see in here that maybe people are not aware of, but we do have a hardship program here in St. Clair Shores. And so I don't know if all the residents know about that, but if they cannot truly pay for their bill due to hardships, they can appeal to the water department. And I was wondering how many people actually do that a year, and how do we get the information out to our residents to inform them that this option actually exists?
That's a good question. I don't know how many people.
We can use communications through our Facebook to get the hardship out. It's actually, there's a Great Lakes Water program as well that we can get out to our residents. We'll just use our Facebook and our social media.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Yeah, and I think also on top of that, you know, we do offer, if people want to be on monthly billing, or I even think of like a standardized pricing to get ahead of their bills to help with their budgeting. You know, we do offer that as well, you know, for people that need that type of assistance. So on top of the increases we get from GLWA, which is part of the reason the rates go up, the capital needs that we have, and basically what are those capital needs? Water main replacements and a citywide water meter replacement program, because we're 12 years into the last time we changed all the meters. We went over to electronic transmitters, you know, so we didn't have meter readers have to go out to every house to read numbers. Well, those are starting to reach the end of their life and need to get replaced. And so that's all part of what's in the budget for this year and what the capital needs are. I do think one of the things, though, that, and this will come up at a future meeting, but it is worked into the budget, is that our employees are on contract from 2021. And the pay raises that were in that contract were based on assumptions in 2021, before major amounts of inflation hit. And they stayed at that lower rates in terms of raises. You know, in terms of private sector, saw a lot more raises. Our workers didn't, because their contract was already locked in for those 4 years. Well, that's gonna come due. And just like we had with police last year, you know, and that contract is public, you know, we had a significant increase to make up for that inflation over the, you know, 21, 22, 23, and that's gonna be happening again. So that is baked into the budget as well. Because actually, in terms of the water budget, the GLWA charge isn't the largest expense. It's really our water department that has to work diligently. You know, if during the winter, we're getting hit emails every day of water main breaks, 0 degrees out, our employees having to go out to fix those. and that. And so they're doing them on overtime, and that is very expensive because that's got to get fixed. And basically targeting to make sure people aren't without water for no more than an hour in a lot of cases, that the employees are getting that done. So that's also worked into these rates as well, that eventually that contract coming due was, our employees are going to get their due in terms of that next contract to make up for, what they've lost the last few years as inflation's gone up, but their wages really didn't match that same increase. So that's worked into this budget as well, and also part of with this increase. But then it's also back to GLEWA of, the limits for them are off. Before they were limited to 4% increases, they don't have to do that anymore. You can see the news, for whatever reason, it's not the older infrastructure here as their main transmission lines, it's some of the newer ones they've done in the 60s that are failing. Things that should be lasting 100 years, some of their large transmission pipes are failing after 50 and that. And then large breaks in Novi and up in Orion to where they have whole communities end up without water for days. And, we strive to make sure a block's not without water for no more than an hour when we have a break.
Right.
So again, GLEWA's got to get their act together and try to get ahead of this. And I do think the state does need to come in with better funding solutions, but also better standards of overseeing GLEWA in terms of what they're doing with all their new projects, so that water transmissions are supposed to be 100 years. And we can't have large ones around the whole metro area only lasting 50, because that costs everybody else, because that just means the capital needs are 100 years old, and there's plenty. We've got plenty in the city, there's plenty in the area. Those aren't going to get addressed now because the things that are 50 years old are failing. Other parts of the metro area that GLEWA has to get on top of. That's all.
Need a motion, Mr. Rebello?
Just one thing, John was talking about the water meters. Okay, for some reason, these water meter things bother me. How many times do we have to replace water meters? I think, did you just say 15 times?
No, 12 years.
Every 12 years or 15 years?
And it's not necessarily it's not the water meters. We're changing out the MTU units, which are the electronic readers that are on top of the water meters. If the water meter is going bad at that time while we're already in there, we will be changing out the meter. But the MTU units, which, as you can see with your cell phone technology changes massively in 12 years. If I look at your cell phone back then, it's huge.
So
now it's not the meters themselves.
It's not the whole meter?
No, it's the
Okay.
MTU units. However, those who have a meter that have been there over 20, 25 years, yes, those will be getting replaced out. While we're in the house already, it makes sense to change those out if they need it. If they don't need it, we will not be. But the technology portion of the MTU units will be changed out this year.
Okay, well, with that, I'll move to adopt the recommended amendment to the Water Ordinance Code, Section 25.260, Chapter
44.
44, Section 44.10, apostrophe H, water rates, discounts, penalties as presented.
Support. Moved by Mr. Rebello, supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Item 4D, set the storm user charge for 2027. John Walters.
So same with the water and sewer rates. The storm water system is, there's maintenance costs every year. There's salaries that are allocated to that function. So there's a whole fund for that. It's a smaller fund. The total costs are about $2.7 million. So we kind of back into the revenue requirement. What's the rate to set? There's a slight increase from last year, but it's pretty nominal. And it's based on impervious surface at your property, so your roof, your driveway.
Okay, Mr. Lent?
Yep. And then this as well, as you guys can see on the formula chart, this does not just hit our residents, our businesses. This actually hits even the government, so it hits our buildings, it hits our schools. Because of a city, every one of these impervious areas are roads. So we get billed for every road, state road, county road, and city. So we bill them accordingly as well. all of our government, so you have a lot of large parking lots for our buildings, so those all get hit. So approximately of the 2.7 million, the city allocates through their own funds, approximately about $800,000 is paid for out of either streets, sorry, excuse me, through our streets, our parking lots for the government, our schools, and that kind of stuff. So it is passed on based on impervious acres, as John had mentioned.
Mr. Rubello.
That's about,
Mr. Rubello.
that's about 33%.
Approximately.
All right, and thanks for taking some time. I asked you a lot of questions today. So with that, I'll approve the allocation of the storm sewer fund expenses over all properties based on a rate of, here we go, 0.015545 as recommended by the finance director, John Walters, and the city manager, Dustin Lentz.
Moved by Mr. Rubello,
Support.
supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. And then 4E's adoption of the 2026-2027 budget. John Walters, Treasurer, Finance Director, and Dustin Lent, City Manager. Somebody.
So the budget, each of you have a new budget book in front of you. Usually we just print out the pages that have changed since the budget workshop, which was about a month ago. Due to the fact that almost every page changed because we had a, I don't know if it's been ratified yet, but the contract for GLEC, clerical people are in almost every department, every fund. So all that changed. So as a result, I just did new books for everybody. And then there's a resolution showing the numbers, each department, and then there's a document showing what's changed, what accounts changed, whether it's gone up or down for the general fund and all other funds within the budget.
Questions? Mr. Karen?
Thank you. So just kind of probably reiterate what we already had at the budget session, but for general fund, this is basically same amount of employees, same type of programs, right? No big increases there. We've funding for vehicles, which is normally a capital thing, that comes out of the motor pool fund. So the new vehicles that are normally done every year is funded. We don't have any new capital projects within the general fund, and with this budget, we're just $4,000 over in terms of revenues over expenses. So it is balanced.
But tight.
Pardon?
But tight.
Very tight,
Very
but
tight.
balanced. In terms of the rest of the budget, in terms, there's one of the graphs that shows there's a big deficit, and it's largely because we have multiple road funds, a major road fund, local road fund, municipal street fund. As I've mentioned in other meetings, those fund balances have been going up over the last few years. We've got major projects that will be happening this year, largely. The repaving in Jefferson, 11 Mile, fixing that. We've got the patching job that we're trying to get through the state from 11 Mile all the way up to Masonic on Jefferson, which, trust me, we've all heard about in terms of how that road is degraded. And Denise is working with the state to make sure we get that project in this year, as well as patching on Jefferson from 9 miles south to the border. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of this construction season, 75% of Jefferson's going to get addressed. The last portion of that's going to be the area where the tunneling project will finish up next year, and we'll repave the part from Lakeland to Rio Vista back to 10 Mile, probably early next construction season. On top of that, water main projects are going in there. A lot of sanitary sewer rehabilitations will be happening. A lot of storm sewer rehabilitations will be happening, and inspection is going to go on. So that's kind of why all the other funds do show a deficit, is that we built up fund balances over the year. It's time to spend those down and get those projects done. That means a lot of construction is going to be happening. And unfortunately, that is disruptive. We understand it's disruptive for people driving major roads, side streets, especially if we're replacing the street in your neighborhood. It's very disruptive. We understand that. We try to get through it as fast as they can. But these are critical infrastructure needs, and that's going to be the largest portion of the capital spending in the next year in this budget.
Thank you. Mr. Rebello.
Okay, so we're looking at our budget here. Someone called it tight. I'd say it's really tight. So we have a surplus of $4,105, correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
So it is balanced.
Yes.
But like I think Linda said, tight. Very tight. So it's good to sit up here with you folks because I think that we're a good combination of people to keep this all under control. So Dustin, great job. Okay. Balance the budget. So with that, I will make a motion to approve a resolution adopting the fiscal year 26/27 budget.
I'll support that.
Moved by Mr. Rebello, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, 7-0. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, John, and your finance team. We appreciate all the hard work it is to get it done. We're here in June, but it actually starts in January almost to put that in place, so appreciate all the work there. Hold on, I lost my sheet.
I should have said John too, but.
Sorry. Request to approval of change to Chapter 30-6 residential district signs. Denise Pike, CDI Director. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is actually Part 2 of the garage sale ordinance. If you recall, garage sales were regulated formally under the residential signs. What we are asking council to approve is the deletion of the garage sale specifics from residential signs and replacing that with essentially a referral back to business and licensing, which is the ordinance that council adopted last council session.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. So this is just part 2 of what had been done at the previous meeting. We already have passed the actual garage sale ordinance previous meeting. This is just deleting the old section that had been stuck under residential signs, even though we weren't regulating the signs themselves, we were regulating the garage sale events. So this is just bringing it up to date with what we actually do at City Hall, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It's a night for this. One quick update on the posting language. We don't list library, which is good. We have police station at the St. Lucie address, which is good. Fire hall and State Hall, unfortunately, have the same address as 27600. One's on Harper, one's on Jefferson. The fire hall, I think, is 26700.
I believe
He's not.
you're
Oh,
correct.
I'm getting nodding by Chief Allen. 26700. So we need to just
Update that.
update the address. It's okay in the part where Abby would sign it, but it needs to be addressed in the part that comes before the endorsements. So the first mention of the posting locations.
Thank you.
Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. This is a good move forward. I just want to make sure that in the other part of the ordinance, maybe I didn't catch it, but one of the things that we took out, this one, was the fact that people had to take their signs down each day, like if they have a 3-day. Are we still requiring that?
What we actually tell them to do is to put the signs on private property. So we're more so directing location. Mr. Erie, you might recall.
Well,
But
you
I
can-
believe,
you
I believe
can
it's
get
just
back-
the location. But I will
Okay.
get back to you with a more
I just think
definitive
it's
answer.
it's kind of odd if you're putting a sign up and you're going to have a 3-day, that you have to go take it down every night, because that's really when you want people to see it, so they plan the next day to come or whatever, so it's just sort of basic advertising, but
Okay.
if you can get back to me on that, just let
I
me
will.
know. And if we have to make some changes. Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6, bids, contracts, purchase orders, request to purchase a new van for the police department use. Chief Jason Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, good to see you. The police department's always had a full-size van for transporting evidence, property, officers, to and from training, arrest sites. It'll come in handy during our move back into the new station. That van was on its last leg. Part of this was written before the van was auctioned off. It was 20 years old, Ford Econoline van, undergoing a lot of maintenance, and it was time for it to go. So the van has been auctioned off. We took that money and deposited it into the drug forfeiture fund, and we'd like to purchase a new van to replace that. We went on the state bid system, and LaFontaine out of Lansing had the best price for the type of van that we were looking for. It's a Ram ProMaster, and a total amount of $54,629.
Ms. Burgess.
All right, so I noticed that on this, it said that we needed 3 quotes. So using the state of Michigan contracting pricing exempt us from obtaining 2 more quotes?
It does.
Okay. And is the $54,000 purchase price the total cost? Or is there going to be some add-ons that need to go into it? Are those going to come to us later?
So we need to have the van outfitted to have benches put in, a radio, lights, that kind of thing. We've done some pre-pricing on that, and it looks like it's going to be around $14,000. So it's not necessary to bring it back to council. We have we've gotten 2 bids, not bids, but quotes so far. And it should be under the $15,000.
Thank you.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. So since the original van was bought with drug forfeiture funds, we can use that funds for replacement, correct?
That's correct.
And that's, okay. So that's coming out of drug forfeiture, not motor pool
That's right.
in this case? Okay, thank you.
Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. This one is at really easy approval, given it's replacing a van you received over 20 years of usage out of you. You made good use of that van. I know you'll do the same with this, and I'm really excited to see that this particular vehicle is in stock and ready to pick up, given some of the delays we've experienced with other vehicle purchasing. The fact that this one's ready to go, I mean, obviously we'll need a little bit of upgrade, decals or whatever, but the fact that they have it in stock and ready to pick up is, thank you for finding this one. And no, the white memo does address it was being auctioned off, and it had been auctioned off already.
That's correct.
So yes, how much did it receive at auction? I'm just curious, how much an over 20-year-old police department van would receive?
$3,500.
Oh, very good. Okay, cool. And yeah, and using the state of Michigan counts as like bidding out because they had bid out to get the contract pricing, so. Very good. Thank you. Good job.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved to Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi for approve the purchase of the Ram ProMaster from LaFontaine in the amount of $54,629. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. They have the, LaFontaine has the governmental bid. That's why we go to them and have that. So it's all been already bid out. That's why we go there. So thank you. All approved, 7-0.
Thank you.
Item 6B is a request to award the contract for concrete patching an 11-mile road from Little Mac to Jefferson and East Pike. Good evening.
Good evening again. In April, we published a request for bid for concrete patching along 11-mile road from Little Mac to Jefferson. Anyone who's driven down 11-mile road knows that, especially in front of the high school, that road is a disaster. So we received 7 bids. The lowest bid was by Florence Cement Company. Their bid was $452,960. We are recommending award of this contract to Florence Cement Company with a 10% contingency, bringing the total award to $498,256. We did meet with Florence, the representatives from Florence. As you know, they're doing the Jefferson project. They now are doing Playview, Statler, and Shady Lane for us. We were assured that this is a different crew. It is a patching crew versus a paving crew, and that they had ample capacity. I will also note that Florence now has the contract for the county to reconstruct the intersection of 10 Mile and Little Mac. So they have been very aggressive in working, but we, again, have been assured that they have the capacity to take this on. We would schedule it after school is out and before school reopens.
Substantial completion before school opens Labor Day. Or-
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. That's actually the part I wanted to get some emphasis
Yeah.
on, because anytime we're talking about road construction by a school, right in front of a school, and that's a school where a lot of people are, a lot of kids are driving to it. The memo from AEW states a conversation was held. He confirms they're fully aware of the August 3rd substantial completion day, understands that this is a firm deadline as Lakeview High School on 10 Mile Road.
Should be 11 Mile Road.
Yeah, along 11 Mile Road.
Yes,
Okay, so they know, okay.
they are
We'll
aware.
reopen shortly after, so how will we be enforcing that and making sure that happens?
So after the substantial completion date, we'll have, our contract will specify liquidated damages, so we will strictly enforce that.
And it doesn't, I mean, liquidated damages are great, but we also want to make sure we're stressing this as the project goes to make sure they hit that date, because we could get the damages and money, but we're still impacting negatively the ability of that school to operate and for kids to get there safely. So we want to make sure we're staying on top of them and that they're prioritizing this project, especially given
Right.
they have a lot of projects going on. Yes, it might
do.
be a different crew, but I don't know if it's the same management or administration overseeing all this stuff. So we need to make sure we stay on top of this one and make sure that this one is being prioritized to hit that August 3rd deadline, or hopefully even sooner.
I think part of what our response is also is scheduling. So it's 11 Mile to Jefferson. So we'll ask them to, their initial focus will obviously be in front of the school while school is out, moving eastward as opposed to starting at 11 Mile and Jefferson and moving west.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Denise, especially since you added that they have a 10-mile Little Mac through the county, so that's one company with 3 different government entities they're actually working with in terms of the projects, the city, SMSD, and the county. And I've been blanking on his name all day as I've been trying to think of, the gentleman that's really their lead contact for us.
Jensen?
Jensen, thank you.
Yes.
I think it'd be good, reach out to him and see if, because of the various different projects, rather than each entity getting separate updates, if at the end of each week, we have a construction update that CDI puts together for the city projects, and it has some of these other ones in there as well. If he can give you like a weekly rundown of a quick update, what happened that week, so that way all the entities have a good gauge of what's going on, and when they plan on starting one project, when they plan on being complete, and what's happening, so it's better for us to keep track. I think he'd be open to that, because that is a ton of work they have in our city.
Correct.
And that we've ever had with one contractor in that. So I think if you can get them to agree with that. If not, then maybe we have to have a conversation with the president of the company about getting that type of updates to all the entities to make sure everyone's aligned.
All right.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Rubello.
Denise, try to explain to me, or us, as you're moving over Harper, and now you're between Harper and Jefferson doing this work, what's going to happen with the traffic pattern right here?
Between Harper
As I'm
and,
heading to Jefferson,
the traffic pattern will remain the same. So typically, the patching does not shut down the whole road. It is sections of road as opposed to a total road reconstruction, which would essentially shut down the road. So we'll have sections that will be closed at a time, but the entire road will not be closed, and that'll be stipulated in their contract, that you have to leave at least one lane open to traffic.
one lane, I'm just trying to picture this, one lane going east and west, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so you would be able to still freely might be.
You know where I'm getting at, right?
I do.
Because we got a big thing going down a little bit to the south there on Jefferson, which is,
But keep in mind that this will start after 10 Mile intersection is open. So some of what is happening right now with traffic control won't be happening in the same way for Jefferson. Jefferson will still have only one lane north of 10 Mile for the duration of the Jefferson Relief Sewer Tunneling Project, but we won't need quite all of the traffic detours that we currently have, if that makes sense. Am I answering your question, or?
my point is, I don't want any more traffic interference with, people coming in and out and trying to get from one spot on the Nautical Mile to 11 Mile Road and up to Little Mac and out onto the expressway. That's my concern.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure with all of the projects in town that we'll never be able to not have to reroute people. But we will do the best we can to get people safely and efficiently where they want to go.
Right, but we're using the word rerouting. We're not rerouting them. There may be sections of 11 Mile there, but people will be able to go both directions. There'll always be one lane. And again, this is less than $500,000, so this is not we're not tearing up all of 11 Mile from Little Mac to Jefferson. We're doing a patching. So
what was the time span, Mayor? I didn't hear what the time span is to do this.
Substantial completion is August, or early August.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. So, Dave, I like how you're thinking, because it's a coordination event with, again, multiple players.
Yes.
So we just don't want Florence going up there and just putting up their own signs and going, okay, this is going to be blocked up. We want to make sure that it's coordinated with whatever's happening at the other end of the street. So if that can be dialed in correctly and maybe in the way that we're getting information, like we talked about, maybe that can be included. Like
Absolutely.
we talked about this, and we're going to close the left lane.
Okay.
All right, just coordination. That's probably key for all this. I would move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Babcock.
Item 6C is a request to approve the permanent pavement repair material contract and blanket purchase order. Brian Babcock, DPW Director. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Each year, the Department of Public Works, there's a number of parts, materials, services that we utilize to function every day. So every spring, we put many of these out to bid so that we're always getting competitive pricing for all those services and parts and supplies. Whenever possible, we put out multiple year bids for things that make sense. So you'll see under consent agenda, there's a number of items there. Those are multi-year contracts that we're just requesting that the blanket purchase order for this year be approved. But the next number here, these are ones that we typically put out to bid every year. So I'll just try to quickly go through these for you. The first item is the UPM permanent pavement repair material. This is basically the cold patch material that we use to fill potholes. We did have one bidder. They're the local company that makes this material, and we're recommending to go with Ajax Paving for this project.
Questions? Ms. Burgess.
Did the staff reach out to any other suppliers? Because I know we just got one bid to make sure that they're competitive with the pricing.
And we do. The material that we use for potholes is different than what they use on like asphalt roads. So there's a lot of companies that makes asphalt for road paving, but when it comes to the material for fixing potholes, as you can see, there's not many companies around that make it. So,
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. Brian, we probably used a lot of that and are still using a lot of it, just judging on some of the potholes that are out there. But I would move to approve the contract for a blanket purchase order for UPM pavement repair material to Ajax Materials through June 30th, 2027, the amount of $33,000.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Thank you. 6D is request to approve the water and sewer repair supplies.
So this item, this is for all the parts that we use when we're building manholes, when we're fixing water main breaks. We put this out to bid each year, and we usually get a number of bids submitted, and we did this year as well. 4 bids were submitted. And then we look at the different items, and we, on this item, we're able to break it up between multiple vendors, so that, like hydrants and valves, we get all those from one vendor that had the lowest price. So we are recommending we split this bid 3 different ways between these various vendors, and we broke down the costs on the first page there.
Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. Brian, thank you for doing that. I know we've asked that numerous times, and you consistently come through with separating the bids and saving the citizens some money. So much appreciated. I'll move to award that contract blanket purchase order for repair supplies to Core and Main in the amount of $90,000, Aetna Supply in the amount of $20,000, and Ferguson Waterworks in the amount of $215,400.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Thank you. 6E is request to approve motor pool vehicle and equipment tires contract.
So this one is for our motor pool, our mechanics garage. These are the tires that we purchased for all the police cars, fire trucks, all of our vehicles. This is one that, because of the pricing of tires fluctuates so much, we have to put this one out to bid each year. So that's what we did. We had 3 bids submitted, and we're recommending to go with the lowest bidder, which is Leslie Tire. We have used them in the past various years, and we've been very happy with their service.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Item 6F is request to approve the tree removal contract.
So for this item, as you know, we do have an in-house forestry department in our streets department, but we also utilize a contractor to help us keep up with the number of unfortunate trees that we have to remove each year. So this is a service that we put out to bid, and we were happy to get 8 bids this year, so that there was a lot of bidders. The lowest bidder, they contacted us and requested that their bid be removed, so we're recommending to go with the second lowest bidder, which is Wanzi Tree Service. They've worked for us for a number of years, and they do a great job for us.
Been happy with them.
Our residents have been real happy with them, yeah.
Yes. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. For these 22 locations, they're dubbed as priority trees. How were they determined to be priority trees compared to other trees? I'm just curious about some of the background in terms of how these 22 were identified for removal and put on this list.
These are ones that we have an in-house arborist that assesses the trees. These are the ones that were evaluated to be unhealthy or nearing the end of their life. So we add them to our priority tree removal list.
Okay. Are there other trees that need removal that are beyond these 22, or are these all the ones that are currently on the list for removal now with the city?
There are some additional beyond these, but this, when we put it out to bid, this was basically everything that was on our tree removal list for right now.
Okay, if
But
we
they
get-
come in every day.
Right,
Sorry.
if we get through, exactly, if we get through these 22, we're going to be using the money that we allocate tonight and this pricing to hit other ones, correct?
Yes, correct, and we utilize the unit pricing that they've provided to do those additional trees.
Great, thank you.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi to award the contract to Wanzi Tree Service in the amount of $191,250. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Thank you. G is request to approve the DPW material delivery disposal contract extension.
So this is, basically, it's a trucking contract. We have a trucking company that brings in sand, soil, stone that we, use in our excavations. And then at the same time, they truck out the material that we excavate out of the holes, our street sweepings, anything that's in our yard that, we need to get rid of. We did get 2 bids submitted. Unfortunately, neither bids were complete. The two bids that we received, I guess the bidders were unable to bid on the leaves and the sweepings removal portion of the contract, which we need to have removed. We only have so much room at the DPW, so, as this material come in with our employees, we need it trucked out. So we did reach out to the current vendor that we're using right now, Grasso, and they always do great work for us. Again, they come into the yard full of material, and they come out, then they leave with taking, a truck full of materials. So they unfortunately did not see that the bid was posted. They have a very limited number of customers that they, work for. I don't think they're actively searching for projects. So they didn't see it, unfortunately, out to bid. But they did tell us that they would honor their current pricing for another year, so that we would have, be able to use them to get the material we need and get it out of the yard as well.
Questions? Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. As I've stated before, I'm against no bid contract extensions. However, this would be a contract extension that had been bid out, but we had received 2 responses that were deemed to be non-responsive due to being incomplete and missing important components, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I'm okay with this, it's 1-year extension, given it had been bid out, but the results of that bidding process were not something we were able to follow through with an award. So I think that's understandable. There's a issue with the PO. Right now, it says another 2-year contract approved at the June 3rd, 2026 council meeting. That would be 2024 council meeting, because that's referring to the last meeting where this was approved. This was approved pursuant to the bidding process that was undertaken then, and we awarded in June of 2024. So that needs to be changed from 2026 to 2024 at the bottom. And when we did it in 2024, we had small amounts for the parts department and golf department too for this contract. And this year we only have water, storm, sewer, sanitation, but not parts, not golf. Are we not going to be utilizing this contractor for those purposes? Do they not need this now? I mean.
Yeah, they don't use the material like they used to, so the smaller amounts that they need, they're able to handle on their own.
Okay, that's why I was just wondering, we're comparing what's being asked for this year compared to the last time, so, okay, thank you.
Mr. Rubello?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this one's, item 6G here is a little confusing there. Bob, Erie?
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Well, I think that the
Microphone, Bob.
explanation.
Microphone,
Oh,
Bob.
sorry. I think that the explanation
Okay.
that was given by Brian and the essential recap by Councilperson Rusi, it makes sense. We don't have a valid bid at this point, and we do have a company that has performed quite well with the responsibility, and they're sticking with their previous prices. I think, as Councilperson Rusi indicated, even though she's against no bid contracts, this is the kind that qualifies as being both rational and commonsensical.
Thank you. Sometimes I gotta throw one across the bow there, make sure you keep you on your toes there.
Lay it on me.
So, with that, I would move to approve the 1-year contract extension and blanket purchase order for material delivery and disposal to Grasso Trucking and Supply Company and 115 Marine City Highway, Fairhaven, 48023, in the annual amount of $118,500.
Support with a question?
Moved by Mr. Rubello, supported by Mr. Frederick. Mr. Frederick?
So, Brian, I noticed in the Grosso comment, or in the chart, it doesn't have anything for delivery of crushed concrete?
That's in an item that was a multi-year bid, so it's under consent agenda. That's with,
Okay,
yeah,
All right.
Clancy.
okay. And that was a, was that a Clancy thing or something?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, very good. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, 7-0. Thank you. 7H is motor pool, request to approve motor pool automotive parts and batteries contract.
So we have, again, a mechanics garage with 3 mechanics. that service all of our police vehicles, fire, and all the DPW vehicles. And each year, we put this item out for the most common auto parts that we use in the garage. We had received 6 bids for this, and we're recommending to go with the lowest bidder, who we have, we're actually currently using. Basic Truck and Trailer Parts in Warren is our recommended vendor for this one, and they're the lowest bidder.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Karen. Support. Supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Thank you. Request to approve the DPW rock salt contract blanket purchase order. 7-I. 6-I, sorry.
So this one's for the rock salt that we use and put down in the wintertime. This is a nice project. We get together with 26 other municipalities and agencies, and we bid this as one, cooperative to get the lowest pricing possible. So these contractors are bidding on a bigger quantity, so they're able to give us better prices. So this is a new contract with a company that we have used in the past, been very happy with, Detroit Rock Salt Company. They were the lowest bidder, and we would recommend moving forward with them as the recommended motion states.
Questions? Move to, sorry. Ms. Burgess.
I just have one quick. So we're approving a 4-year contract with, 2-year contract. And then we are doing four future 1-year contracts rather than bringing the extensions back to council for approval?
So the way they have done this bid for a number of years is they ask for, like they said, 2 years guaranteed pricing. And then moving forward, are you willing to do, they'll go back to them and they'll say, this next year, on the 3rd year, are you willing to stick with the 5% increase in price that you put in your bid? As long as they are and we're still happy with their service, it goes both ways, then we extend.
Okay.
And that'll happen for 4 additional 1 years.
And this bid's a little bit different than most bids that we go through. As Brian kind of mentioned, it's kind of cooperative, but the cooperative is between City of Farmington Hills, Berkeley, Bloomfield Township, Clawson, Farmington Hills, Lathrop Village, Huron Township, Orchard Lake, Rochester Hills, Royal Oak, and a litany of other communities all going together to get the best deal, and they purchase the salt. Farmington Hills is the one who actually puts out this bid on behalf of all these communities. That's why it's a little bit different than what some of the processes that you see here. But if we were to go out and bid on salt ourselves, with the amount of salt that we get, we would be such a small player that we would be paying astronomically more money for our bid. But when we go together with all these communities and the delivery of all these communities, you can also see in the bid specs, Oakland, Macomb, because they're delivering to other areas, whether it's Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, there's a little bit different of a delivery package, but for the most part, they're able to honor those prices. However, I do want to correct one thing, Brian. They were not the lowest bidder. There was a lower bidder out of Wisconsin. But one of the big issues is when Farmington Hills tried to call them and get references, there was a lack of references. And the other worry is obviously salt is very important when it comes to snow removal and ice, how quickly we can get it. Some of these other municipalities don't have as large of a storage area as we do. So it's a lot more of, hey, we need this on demand. If we get a big snowstorm that comes through, we are fortunate we do have at least a salt dome that we're able to keep some of our salt protected. But the delivery from Detroit right to a lot of our municipalities is a lot closer, quicker, and benefits a lot of these communities and ourselves for that delivery service. Going to a place in Wisconsin to try to get the salt shipped over here was a little bit scary for Farmington Hills, which is why the recommendation is coming for Detroit Salt Company.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Actually, that was the point I was going to bring up. The memo says lowest bidder would be more like lowest responsible bidder, I guess, as determined by Farmington Hills, given it does state that it was Higher Investments LLC, but like you said, they were unable to provide any references. I think more worryingly as well, it says the vendor has not previously supplied this commodity, so they haven't supplied salt before too, right?
Yes.
So that would be a concern for something as important to all these communities, as salt is in the winter. And I guess going back to Councilwoman Burgess's question, so are we awarding the additional four additional one-year extensions as an option that would come back to us to officially bless if it's upon mutual consent? Or would that be on Farmington and we would just put this under the consent agenda? I'm just curious.
The way I'm
Procedurally.
proposing it, I guess, is to have it come through in the consent agenda, because Farmington Hills will be administering the contract. And it is at a specified unit price that was part of the
Correct.
bid.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear on the procedure and how this will be handled in the future, what we're actually awarding tonight, so. And it is tricky with us not being the city in charge of the actual contract. We're just me tooing the consortium, so, okay, thank you.
And also, thank you for your support in building the bigger salt dome. I think we do a better job because of having that storage. We don't have to hold back like we used to as much. And we also are able to purchase the salt for less per ton because we can order it in the summertime when the trucking companies, are less busy. There's a savings there. So we'll utilize that. We fill it up in the fall before the winter starts.
Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. That's the exact point I was going to bring up, the fact that we're going to save a couple dollars per ton because we put that great salt dome up. And how's that doing, by the way?
It's holding up great.
All right.
We love it.
Worry about some of that stuff with whatever. All right, sounds good. I'll move to approve the 2-year 2026-2028 Mitten Purchasing Cooperative Contract and Annual Blanket Purchase Order with Detroit Salt Company in the amount of $120,000. In addition, it's recommended to approve 4 additional 1-year extensions at the approved 5% per year increase upon mutual consent between the city and the Detroit Salt Company.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Burgess. Mr. Rebello.
I just have a quick question. How does Farmington Hills end up with the hand to do it?
I don't know how it started. They've been doing it for as long as I've been working here. They've always been the lead agency on this one.
Maybe they were the ones that sort of rounded everyone up.
Yeah, maybe.
And just for the folks who might be listening, how do we salt our streets? Like, what happens? What needs to be done? And as far as not what needs to be done, but when do we salt our streets?
But we, immediately, as soon as the main streets get slippery, we have our trucks preloaded with salt, and we're ready to go, and we dispatch them out. If it's in the evening when we're not in monitoring the roads, the police department, they got eyes on the road. They're out there, obviously, 24/7. So they'll call into dispatch and say, hey, the roads are starting to get slick. Dispatch will call in our standby employee. He'll gather up a crew, and they'll come in no matter what, hour of the day
How
it
many
is.
times did we do it last year? Just roughly, you don't have, unless it's like 11 or something.
I don't have it on this document, but I want to say, like, main roads, we probably did 30 or 40 times. At least.
1,000 tons more than the
Seems
year
a lot.
before.
What is a lot?
It was
Was.
one
It was a
heck of
bad
a winter,
winter.
yeah.
This winter was rough.
It was a rough winter.
Right, and I can't, how long we've had the dome? 6 years?
A couple less maybe than that. Yeah, maybe 6 years, yeah.
I mean, we
About that
can't, that dome is just.
Save money
Yes, I
every
mean,
year.
we now have 2,500 tons in there versus 450 before?
Yeah, we used to literally load the salt. The semi would drop it off, we'd pick it up off the ground, put it in our truck, and drive out on the road and start throwing it. I mean, it was very stressful. So,
Totally.
yeah, we never had enough on hand.
I know we sometimes, get a little heat from people, but that seems like a lot of times to go out.
It is, yeah.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Burgess to approve the Detroit Salt Company. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. Request to approve the sanitary sewer lift station pump purchase.
So this is for the sanitary sewer system in our city. The majority of our city, I want to say probably 80% of our city, our sanitary sewers all drained by gravity. They just flow downhill, down to, it's not that simple, but out of our city and then into various agencies, ultimately down to Detroit to be treated. There is a section of the city, though, where we have to mechanically lift the sewage and then put it back to gravity. And that section of the city is between 9 Mile and 10 Mile and between I-94 and Little Mac, which is actually where our garage is at over at the DPW. So there's a lift station there. that was put in, I want to say probably somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago. And the pumps are aging in there. They're, you know, as you can imagine, there's a lot of different material that passes through these pumps. And you know, there's wear and tear on these things, and it's time to start replacing them. So we put a bid out to replace one of the pumps to get started and to see how that works out. So that's what this item here is, to request approval of the purchase of the replacement of one pump at the lift station.
So you got 4 bids, significant difference. So how do you feel about Detroit Pump?
Oh, well, Detroit Pump as a whole, the company has been fantastic to work with.
Yeah, that's the bid.
Yeah, they're, but I'm just saying, if you're asking about the company, they're great. They're,
it's about
their
the
field
bid.
services, their main salesperson I've been working with for over 20 years. He's very reliable, very knowledgeable. The prices did vary quite a bit, but it's because there's different style pumps here that they proposed. So that's one thing. Once we got all these proposals, we did our research to make sure that, you know, this is going to be a good pump for us, and we feel confident in it. We checked references. We you know, went out to other pump stations. But again, this is also why we're only replacing one right now.
Yeah.
Not all 3.
Right.
We're going to see how it works out because this is a new style pump for us.
Okay, Mr. Vitale?
I just want to mention that new style pump means chopper style, like a garbage disposal instead of just a straightforward pump.
Yes. Grinder.
Because a grinder, because of the flushable wipes and things like that that you're finding in there. Is Detroit Pump the company that has rebuilt some of our pump houses?
They've been repairing some of our pumps and that, but Detroit Pump is fairly new when it comes to this kind of work. The company's been around a long time, but they haven't done as much municipal. We used to always use.
I just thought maybe the name sounded a little familiar to me. Maybe it's, you know, Detroit Company Pump or something that's.
And we've, like I said, they've been around a long time. They've worked on like our brine pumps, and so we have used them for quite a few years.
Thank you.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Brian, do we do any screening at that site in terms of the material that's coming in?
There is some screening, yes.
And how often do we have to clean that out? Because I think back to what Councilman Vitale said, the flushable wipes that aren't flushable that we're having to deal
Plumber's
with.
friend.
Yeah, so it depends on the season, but sometimes as often as once a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's you know, a half a day to an all-day event. It takes a lot.
Yeah, and that's, definitely not a fun job to have to do. So in terms of, for the 3 pumps that are there, we're replacing one, so the other 2 will always be operation while we're pulling the one out.
Yes.
I do, in terms of the lessons learned, you know, as you work with them, you know, the Alger station, when we did a changeover many years ago, right? There was certain things that were not programmed correctly, so kind of make sure that you work with the company, work with their engineering firm to make sure everything's programmed correctly. You know, so if like one shuts down, it's not shutting down all 3.
Right.
Right, because that's basically what happened 10 or so years ago at Alger. So we just want to make sure we don't repeat that same failure. But I think this is, I think as the mayor said, the disparity in pricing is quite interesting. So it'll be, it'll be interesting to see how this one works out. About how long of a period are you going to do this, basically a trial period for this one before we decide to replace the other 2 at the same type of model?
I believe I put money in for next year's budget to do the second one.
Okay, well, we budgeted 150,000, you're only spending 30,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you can choose to carry that over if you wanted to, or use the money from next year either way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be the lead pump?
We'll still alternate. We alternate between all 3.
Based on hours?
Yeah, well, and it also, if we keep an it's connected to our SCADA system, so it's up on a TV in our office all the time.
Yeah.
And what's nice is by running them alternately, and they're different colors, you can see and make sure, you want to make sure they're all kind of running similar.
Yes.
If they're not, then you know there's an issue with the pump. So that's a good way to run them, so you can always keep an eye, like if there's issues with any of the pumps.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. I was very excited to see this proposal from the sewer department, as excited, I guess, as you could be about a sewer pump. But I was excited because it's not only a, new pump to replace, old pump, but it's a new style, like has been discussed, to address some of the issues that the pump station has been having with what some people are flushing. So just, I like this in the memo. I thought this was a good thing to emphasize to the residents. The sewer department has found an increase in grease rads, other non-flushable items like the wipes, which even though they say flushable, don't flush them, in the pump station. Due to the age and wear on the existing pump components, this frequently causes the pumps to clog, run at a higher than safe voltage, and then ultimately trip a circuit or fail. This results in the pumps having to be removed, so stopped, to be cleaned and calibrated. And so these new chopper-style pumps are a recommendation from the sewer department will be capable of breaking down these items instead of clogging to reduce the required cleaning and maintenance of the pump station and also reduce the risk of sewage backups. So I really like that this is a proposal to solve some of the issues we've been having, and hopefully this works very well and we can get the other two replaced then. And no, thank you for making this proposal and recommendation. I hope that this works well to reduce some of these issues.
Me too. The reason some of these other costs are so much more too is because we'd have to upgrade the electrical to them because of the different styles of pumps. So hopefully this one works out well. If not, then we may have to, make some electrical modifications at the pump station. But I wasn't going to say this, but my guys probably want me to. There are no flushable wipes out there. I'm just going to say, even if it's labeled that way, please, they're not flushable.
Candace Miller has posted some horrific photos she has from, and John's 9 down there of what some of these flushable wipes can do to the system.
Yeah,
so.
and any cleaning rags, believe it or not, we found mop heads. I mean, you wouldn't believe what kind of havoc a mop head could do. Just keep stuff out of the sewer, please, other than what has to go down there.
Mr. Rubello.
I learned a little bit more than I thought I would tonight. How do the residents get affected by putting this in? Is there any, havoc to the neighborhoods, or is there anything that?
No, the goal is that they're not affected at all because, they as long as this pump station's working, then everything, they won't even know.
Boom, you put it in and go about our merry way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, seems great. I will approve the recommended motion here. I'll move to approve the purchase of the sanitary sewer lift station pump purchase from the Detroit Pump in the amount of $29,672.
I'll support that.
Moved by Mr. Rubello, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
6K, request to award a contract for the trash collection services. Dustin Lights.
As council is aware, our trash contract with Priority Waste is expiring at the end of June. So council created a subcommittee, and as discussed in our last work study session, some of the information that we had received and as was out there in the public for all of these going prices is significant increases to the trash haulers. Attached to your agenda is about 12 recent bids that have went out, and those who have bid, and those prices are attached. However, at this time, what the council and the committee chose to do was to go out with an RFQ. That's a request for qualifications to see what providers in the area were interested in servicing St. Clair Shores. We received 3 RFQs returned, and those were Priority Waste, Express, and Waste Management. However, when reviewing those contracts, Waste Management is very detailed on how they pick up trash. Waste Management requires everything must be in carts, everything must be automated. At this time, our city is not prepared and or ready to be able to go to that step. It would take a large transfusion of changes in ordinance and requirements. So at that time, the committee chose to work with the 2 vendors that had submitted, and that would be Express and Priority. We brought both of the companies in for interviews. We asked a litany of questions to Priority and to Express. Many of those being what kind of service, what days, what kind of innovations and changes can we look to see. As everybody knows, Priority has been our current waste provider, and we all know what kind of service we have received since they took over. Everybody also can probably notify in the council of all of the newspaper articles and things that have went out in the public. Obviously, there has been a lot of changes at Priority recently. Priority has changed their ownership model. Their previous CEO has been let go. And the changes that we have received here has been on an endless basis, a new logistics driver, new LCD, new governmental reps, and we have been working through those. So whether Priority was going to be able to continue with all the promises that they kept coming up with, they've been to in front of our council a litany of times, and every time would promise, and under-deliver. So during that process, one of the things that Priority did have, though, is being able to keep us on an 18-month extension at a much under-market value price in order to earn the respect back. But at that time, during the interview process of our committee, Express offered that they would do the exact same thing. Express recommended that they would come in, be able to work with our community, earn the respect, earn the trust of our community, show what kind of service that they can provide, and give us an 18-month discount as well. That discount is in the packet for council to look at, both proposals from Priority and from Express. Express is more expensive than what Priority is, but I feel that the committee, during the interview process and knowing what our residents have went through over the last year and a half of dealing with Priority, we feel that the recommendation to this board and to this body here is to go with Express. And I will pass it over to the committee members, Mayor, if you're okay, and you can choose which ones, and we can get started.
Okay. Mr. Vitale?
Okay. Well, just to kind of give maybe a little more detailed overview of what the garbage committee was all about, or trash collection services. We started probably a year ago, I think it was last summer, that we started with this ahead of the contract, because at the time our options were very limited. We were even looking at pulling trash collection back in-house, which is something we haven't done for better than probably 30 years, which has got substantial startup costs with that, the going rate for a CDL driver, which is required to drive a trash truck. We're talking a lot of money up front. In the intervening year, there became some other options available. Some startups and as well as Waste Management, who took an interest in servicing the city. Mr. Lent showed us what was done in the Chesterfield Township with an RFQ that they also did. We thought that was a good model. And that also gave us the ability to interview directly. Waste Management came back in front of us, and I used the colorful euphemism as Waste Management is kind of the garbage Borg, where they come in their big square spaceship, and you got to do what they tell you to do. And there's just a lot of ways it's not compatible with St. Clair Shores. They have liftover automated trucks that would just tear off tree branches, and you wouldn't be able to park on the streets on garbage days. And it was just a lot of things that weren't going to work, and they probably would have been the highest bidder, to be honest with you. That left it with two. And, I don't think there's any reason to really belabor the Priority point. But I will say this. When Express came in front of us, they brought a team that had kind of people at every level of the company. We looked for, they know that the garbage prices are going up. We're going to have to do some things to stay within our budget on that. They, right off the bat, offered, I think, some solutions, some logistics that were creative and will allow us to do that. I think, one of them, for example, a change might be coming, is something that I wanted to see, where when we have commercial business properties that have a Friday pickup, Well, basically, that means their cans just sit out there all weekend. There's nobody there to pick them up. It's been a little bit more of a problem with priority because sometimes the pickups aren't until 7 o'clock at night. Businesses are closed. But it could happen to anyone, and they proposed, well, why don't we pick up trash at, maybe off times where the dump sites aren't as busy and things like that, and we can just dedicate a truck to that, not have to get held up in traffic. And I thought right off the bat, that's a pretty innovative solution. And it was something we didn't see coming from any of the other people that were in front of us. So in addition to just not being the bad guys, they were also seemed to be the good guys. I think they've got a real desire. They're just kind of getting started. I think we'll be their first mid-sized city, and I think they're going to want to hang their hat on that. So I think they've got an interest in performing well for the citizens here. Also, it's a new company, but they're not strangers to the business. Everyone has decades of trash collection experience. So I feel pretty good about this. And I also say this, too, is that Mr. Lent did say that their bid was slightly higher than the priority 18-month extension. But then we would have been out to bid after 18 months, and more than likely, we would have been hit with market rate, which is $20 to $22 a collection stop per month is the way that the pricing's done. What they're offering is 5 years, and at the end of that 5th year, we're probably at the rate that we have in 18 months. So, yeah, I guess by one metric a little bit more, but if you look at it holistically over the course of that 5 plus 18-month schedule, it actually sounds like a pretty good deal, even financially on that one. So that's why I came in where I was at on it, and I'll let the other committee members speak.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to echo Councilman Vitale on his overview of what we've done in a committee, and I first off want to say thank you to Dustin and Matt for all the hard work you've put on. We were exploring, they were crunching numbers, exploring so many different alternatives and ideas to try to find a solution to a contract that we have up on June 30th. It's the last day, so we need to have something in place if you want your trash picked up July 1st going forward, which is very soon. And we were looking at things like taking it in-house, which we thought was we determined was not financially, fiscally feasible under the current sanitation millage and fund. We were looking at maybe partnering with another city. We explored a lot of alternatives, but we kept going back to, okay, I think we're going to realistically have to be with a private company on our own, at least for now. And the RFQ was a great idea. We found an alternative out there that can do the work. And like Chris said, we sat down with them and they had some ideas that we were never approached with from any other company about how services can be improved. Things, like some of the quirks that made St. Clair Shores unique, at least some of our unique challenges, some of the narrow canal streets we have. They had ideas about how to service them, taking all the businesses and like Chris said, servicing them on one day instead of interweaving these stops with the residential pickup. Let's just service the businesses on one day and get those done. I mean, that's a pretty cool idea. Having not, one of the issues we have had with the current incumbent provider, which only took over because they purchased the contract or city contract along with 70 some other city contracts from GFL when GFL decided to get out of the residential pickup business in this area, was they didn't have any supervisors on the street. So you saw a lot of the early issues where there were missed pickups and they didn't have somebody on the street checking these out and catching these. So they relied on you guys as the residents to say, hey, my trash wasn't picked up, it's still out there, my recycling was missed, this was missed, and then to call us and then we'd have to do it, and it was just this hassle because they didn't have an on-street supervisor. Finally, they did get one supervisor. Well, Express is going to give us 2 on-street supervisors to make sure that the job is being done correctly. Which I really appreciate because we're all up here fielding these calls and these emails, and when you guys are frustrated, we're frustrated too. And this has been a huge source of frustration for the past year and a half. So Express also promises better communication. Well, to be quite frank, I would love not to communicate with my garbage company like ever. I would love just the garbage to be picked up. And, you know, it had been years. I've been on council since 2009. Most of the garbage pickups we've had, I have never, ever, ever had to send a single email to a contractor, period, let alone the garbage contractor. And these people were basically my freaking pen pals at this point, because I was emailing them dozens and dozens, literally a day of things. And these were frustrations that were being given to me from dozens and dozens and dozens of residents and people. And you saw on Facebook, and it just was very frustrating to be at a point where we were, at the very least, perhaps we have to go with some sort of extension to buy us more time to make some of these changes, continue to do some of this work, and try to cross our fingers and hope there's something out there that we can work with. Well, Express is coming with a very competitive extension. You know, it's not an extension, it's a new contract, but to the current extension offer we had. So I'm looking really forward to, and they're putting up a performance bond. I mean, I felt really positive coming out of that interview session and having read the proposal and everything, that this will be a good fit for St. Clair Shores and help alleviate some of the issues we have been experiencing. So thank you to Matt and to Dustin for working with us this past year, and whatever you guys have been taking on a very good leadership component in helping us lead us to the solution that we finally found. And I think this will be very good for the city. And if it's not, I mean, it can't get any worse, right? No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. But I think that they'll be good partners with us, especially some of the ideas they have going forward, and maybe coming up with even better ways to make some of these changes we're talking about. So, you know, we're looking for partners. I think we're going to get that with Express. So that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Burgess.
One thing that hasn't been mentioned, I did some numbers, and, you know, I understand that we had some really bad times this last year, and sometimes we have to look at results over numbers. But when I did all the math, the difference over 18 months is $204,048. It's about $11,336 per month, and it's 60 cents per household per month difference. So 60 cents, and maybe all the frustrations that we've had over a year will be alleviated. I love that you're gonna put into the contract the 2 dedicated supervisors, multiple customer service reps that are dedicated to the city, the performance bond, business route consolidation for efficiency, and I just feel like 60 cents per household is nothing compared to what we've done more than 60 cents of headache. So I'm very impressed. The only thing I want to bring up, because I mean, everything always looks good when you're talking contracts and everything, and you know, you want to say the right things, because Priority tried to tell us all the right things too. So if Express fails to meet the expectation, what termination rights does the city have? And the 2 cities that they're already using, have we looked at any of their complaints? Did they have any complaints? Did we look at that?
Yes, so we did a full review. Their clients that they just picked up have been relatively recent, so it is fresh. It's always the beginning part. But as Councilwoman Rusi mentioned, they are putting together a performance bond. So there will be a performance bond there where if we feel we do have an out clause, as well as one of the things that is in front of you today is the information, because as we mentioned earlier, July 1st is our turnover date. So July 1st is when we have to. Express, once if authorized tonight, is going to reach out to their leasing company. We've already been given a letter from their leasing company that they have the trucks ready to go. They will start leasing at first with all the vehicles, because they got to be able to turn over and get the stuff. Once they get toward today too as well, they've already been starting to beef up their staffing just because of all the bids that they're putting out. They will have the staffing ready to go by this contract. But because of that, the actual contract will be coming in front of us at our next meeting. The pricing and all of that is already given through the quote, but the individual nuances of the language is still being kind of worked out, just so we don't want to rush it and kind of bring it here as an incomplete contract, but that'll be coming before us. The unique part about this as well is this contract has been passed down. It was originally Rizzo, GFL, and then it got taken over by a priority, so it has changed hands 3 different times. But it is, an original contract that this company is very familiar with. So we will be working on the terminology and the language in that contract. But we do have a performance bond that will be able to hold them to it, but trying to make sure we are ready to go. As everybody knows, we have fireworks, 4th of July, holidays, all of that happens. And the reason this is 18 months as the very first extension is to get us on a better trash schedule. One of the things that we talked about during our work study session, changing a trash contractor in the middle of the summer, July 1st, when you have all the yard waste, all the holidays, all the different kind of stuff, is a very hard approach. Going to an 18-month extension with a potential 5-year extension, if they are very successful, gives us that opportunity that if, for whatever reason, if Express doesn't live up to their bargains, we'll be going out to bid for a new contractor in December with a new start in January, which you don't have all the yard waste. They got smaller staffs at that time. It's an easier transition for a municipality to change over their trash contractor in January than it is July. But knowing it is in July, knowing that we have a lot of hoops and hurdles to get over, that's why this came in front of us at this meeting and not the next one, and the contract will be in addition to the next contract.
So we're approving the proposal today.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, basically, everything's shown to me so far. I think that the administration and the committee, thank you, committee members, that we've got a reasonable, responsible call here to move forward to Express. So I am going to recommend that the city approve the proposed submitted by Express Waste Services for solid waste collection services.
Support. Moved by Ms. Burgess, supported by Mr. Karen. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. As the 3rd council member in the trash committee, I can tell you that we did spend a lot of early mornings talking trash, and I don't mean about the previous ball game or something. But I'm excited because these folks who came in are not only talking, doing our trash better, but they're talking about helping us educate the residents on better ways to put your trash out, right? And in addition to that, I know that we're looking at other ways to save a couple of bucks. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but these folks have been so upfront. And the thing that really got my attention was the fact that they had already figured out that they could get trucks day one through a leasing program. And like Dustin said, they brought us the letter. We followed up. Right, Matt? Yep. And thanks to Matt and Dustin, I mean, this was not an easy thing. This is our biggest contract. This is the one that if you get it wrong, you saw what happened, right? Not that we got it wrong, because that was a long contract that had people buying it out, but that's what happens. The derivative of that contract, at the end, everybody saw what happens. And even this past weekend, while we were all trying to enjoy some first-time summer, the phone was ringing off the hook. And I think it was Candace that said, I don't really want to be a pen pal with you guys, right? No way. So thanks to everybody that put in the time, did the work, did the detailed drill down, and I mean, I feel confident that we can move forward with Express. And by the way, the bar is a little bit higher, maybe a lot higher, and I'm saying that because they're sitting in the audience. The bar is a lot higher than it was with Priority. So we're going to count on you guys, and I know we will have some conversations along the way, and of course another meeting. So Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Actually, Councilman Frey, I'm going to correct you on one thing.
Okay.
I don't think the bar's higher. Priority just.
There was no bar.
We're never going to be able to reach it. Because the bar's very simple.
Pick up
the trash.
Pick up the garbage.
In a timely manner.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Of all days, it's now 9:08. Looking down at my phone to see if my neighbor texted me, but that the trash, yard waste, recycling on my street is still not picked up. And today's my collection day. 9:08 on a day that I'm deciding on who's going to be picking up trash. Priority is still dropping the ball again. And I think, and I will belabor the priority issue a little bit more. This does go back 2 years. It's just, even when we started, the disruptions, when they took over the contract, it was just first, the delays in getting things picked up, things getting missed, streets getting mixed. Even though we were given all these promises, they had AI, they had cameras, they had all this stuff that was gonna give them the magical route of how to get through the city. The whole city's a grid. You just go up and down the streets. We're given all these promises and just not one of them were ever met. They said, here's, call into the call center. Anyone that makes just call it in. It's like, okay. They had 4 people working the phones for 73 communities. On top of those same 4 people had to deal with billing calls. Because here, we pay the bill. Let's say the city pays the bill through our rubbish fund. Other cities, individuals have to pay their bills and that. And so when they have billing questions, they have to call priority. Well, if our complaints are going through the same system that like Clinton Township, 100,000 people, calling into the same number with 4 people. It's just, they just never figured it out. And then once you think, maybe early this year, they're getting caught up, what happens this last week? Mechanical issues, staffing issues, yard waste, 40% picked up on Wednesday. Thursday, they still didn't get the rest of that on Wednesday. No, by the way, they didn't pick up anything on Thursday. We'll try to get it Friday. And we're getting updates through Saturday. Well, the Sunday email we got from Priority was an apology, but no update on what was actually picked up. So, and it's interesting today in the news, they now have another CEO. He won't, but maybe he would watch these type of meetings. Maybe he'd watch what other communities are going through. We're not the only ones. You can look at the Clinton Township residents page. They've got the same thing. Their yard waste isn't being picked up, probably for the same issues, mechanical issues or on trucks or personnel issues. So that's what necessitated basically getting the RFQ out, that we needed to have another option. Going back to February, and I appreciate the committee meeting with the 3 firms and coming forward with the recommendation from Express. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to is one of going back to the day to where we didn't have any complaints.
Right.
Things got done. And looking back, there's several people that with Express that used to do the collection in the city. And at a time where we never had to talk about it. And to where that's all we talk about now. So I'm looking forward to those same people coming back and fixing this situation. And also helping us figure out maybe more efficient ways and figuring out the things of, Councilman Vitale brings up the big house empty type issues to where they fill up the curb. And well, what does that do to disruption? Well, you end up filling up the truck. Then the truck has to go get emptied out and it takes a while for them to come back. And then maybe it's like they can't get the route done because they fill up again, they can't dump anywhere after a certain point. And it's all about logistics and understanding the timing and what needs to get done. So I think the bar's not that high. It is basic logistics of driving through the city and just picking up the trash.
It's up there.
And I'm confident that, Jeff and I had a good, honest conversation this morning about what the expectations were. And, and I'm confident they can get this back to where it's just getting back to the basics.
Yep.
Pick it up and pick it up in a timely manner and make our residents happy again. Because the last 2 years, this is our largest service contract and it literally has been a nightmare for 2 years. And I'm very hopeful our nightmare is going to come to an end. So I appreciate that. So with that, yield back.
Mr. Rubello.
Well, it's great that they're here. So a couple questions I have. First of all, a couple comments. It's great that you did face-to-face interviews because that seems to probably get a lot of good information out, and it sounded like it did. So thank you for the committee for going through that. I don't know how many meetings you had, probably a handful of them.
A lot.
A lot.
Okay, and I guess this is my major point, is I do not want to be the go-between between the residents. Seriously, it may have been hundreds.
Yeah.
Okay, it may have been hundreds, and there's actually no reason for that. I mean, I don't want to say, just keep dumping on priority, but there were some things they got right, and I thank them for the things that they did get right, but it wasn't enough. For some reason, I shouldn't say for some reason, but this community, St. Clair Shores, takes this stuff very seriously. They don't let nothing go. And I know you guys are interested in the shores. You wouldn't have done that to put your name in the hat. So I want to thank you for that. Thanks again to the committee. You've got to trust and respect each other, the city, the contractors, and it's been said here several times, biggest contract that we have. People want their stuff picked up, and when they don't get it picked up, boy, they let us know about it. So, no offense to you, but this might be the last time I want to see you for a long time, okay? So, Dustin, after this 18-month extension is up, what can the city expect after that? Okay. So, ironically, we just went through the budget earlier in the day, and what happens next?
So the offer on the table that Priority has in front of the committee and the committee is recommending is
Express.
The committee is recommending is with Express, which will be an 18-month contract with the option to continue for 5 years at set rates already, as Councilman Vitale had mentioned, that is still below market rate, especially knowing that an 18-month market rate is probably going to increase. And the nice part about the contract, it will have a performance bond. So if for any purposes after that 18-month, we have that performance bond that we then can put in place and we can say, you know what, we're done, no thank you. But the option right now is for the 18-month with the extension of 5 years. And then if we have any issues, we have a performance bond, we'll be able to enact that, and then we can go back out to bid for a contractor at that time. But hopefully, I think what the committee feels and what we're hoping is that after that 18-month contract with the 5-year, we're seamlessly just moving on, and our residents are happy, we're happy, and we're not getting a call.
We'll say in the event that a resident does make a complaint, who do we go to? Is it you? Are you the point man? Is it any of the Express guys? How's this going to work here?
So Express will have a system that you will be able to call Express. They will have a number. They have dedicated sales reps. They have dedicated complaint line that will be able to go straight to Express. They'll be able to handle it. If residents don't feel that that is a good enough answer, we also have our DPW, which handles all of our trash lines, and they'll be able to handle it as well. However, our office at the city manager's office is always available as well. But we do feel that Express is going to be a little bit different than Priority. A lot of our residents who have said if they call Priority, they're on line, they're on hold, they're waiting, and it could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. We've all heard the horror stories. Express promises that's not going to be the way. You're going to be able to call Express. They're going to have their line published, and it is going to be for St. Clair Shores residents to be able to get their situation and their issue taken care of.
A real person.
Okay, and I guess my last comment is there are some hot spots around St. Clair Shores that seem to have been getting missed and all that type of stuff. It might be abnormal, it might be normal. Is there anything that we can do if any of us has had to make multiple phone calls because they missed the same business and they missed the same area? Not to say week after week, that's sort of picking on, but you know what I mean? It's like high frequencies of this stuff.
So as any good business, and I would say as any city, there's always unique spots. There's individuals who live on side streets who put their trash out on the side and it's not in the front. You have businesses that back up the alleys, they put their stuff out there. We have a lot of canal streets which also have some issues in that regard. It is gonna be a learning out phase. Anytime you change it up to a new contractor, the nice part I would say, a lot of these individual drivers that they're bringing, it's not like it's new drivers to our area. They are gonna bring on drivers who have experience working in the shores, as well as their technology of having an individual who is going to be a manager who is going to be in place here, not just worry about the eye in the sky or worry about the IT technology. They will actually have a person who will be following the routes and making sure each thing's picked up. Are they still possibly going to miss the uniquenesses? Yes, but they're going to learn from those and then be able to make sure those are being picked
I
up.
guess that's my point, that these guys can come in and just walk on water, you know, immediately, but we'd like you, if you are walking on water, to come give us fish or something. So they're here today, the Express folks, that's why we keep looking over there. I wish you the best of luck, and I know you guys are professional, and our residents are tough, and they let us know. That's how it goes. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you're walking on water, I've got a problem.
Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, two more points I want to make. One is, one other unique thing about their proposal that didn't get mentioned. I don't know, they're all here. I don't know if they intend to speak during the audience participation portion or not, but they did mention a service of actually coming up to the home for an additional cost. That would be between that resident and the Express, not anything the city would administer. So that's one thing. The other thing is that while the trash committee is all in one room with the new contractor, I want to say that I wasn't kidding around when I said I'm definitely down to do that garbage ride-along, because a lot of these ideas that we have to bring efficiencies potentially require an ordinance change, or maybe even just a change to standard operating procedure, changing the days and things like that. So, you know, if somebody wants to provide, maybe we could drive the old police van, but I think they auction that. But get us all together and, you know, maybe do a follow along or something like that. The other thing too I want to say is that Express was adamant that they actually start before the contract ends, because they do want to come in here with a clean slate. So if there's things that get left behind from the prior contractor, they want to come in and start with ground zero where everything's fresh and
On a Monday.
Yeah, on a Monday. So I am making myself available for the garbage ride along, and if anybody else wants to come with me, they're welcome. You know, a lot of people like being on city council for going to the watermelon eating contests or the stuff like that. I like trash logistics. Is interesting to me. So
I like both.
All right. So we do have a motion by Ms. Burgess and by Mr. Karen, but before I call the question, I just have a couple of questions. So is June 29th the day, if this was to pass, is June 29th the day that on Monday we would see Express?
So we will have to work out the logistics with priority because of how the contract is set up.
Is that what you're anticipating?
That is what I'm anticipating.
Okay. God rest his soul, Don Beretta, like for us who were here for many years, we had good relationships. He answered our calls. He delivered. And I know that there will be a Don Beretta. We'll use his name there. And so Dan just raised his hand. He's all right. So we have that again. I think we're all familiar with Don Beretta. Dustin, are you confident that they can deliver on the trucks?
I am. They gave us, actually even to prove that they are confident, they provided us the leasing company and a letter and documentation that everything is ready to go if council was to award them. So they've already even taken that next step to let us know that the leasing company they're working with has the trucks ready for them to go.
Okay. And then my understanding is they're going to dump at the SMDA over there, 12 Mile, but we're going to work in it where the city may pay the SMDA.
That is correct. So the city is going to work out the relationship. As council is aware here, one of the big issues with priority that they had was some of the vendors not being paid, which
Yes.
slowed down a lot of the service.
Terrible.
In order to prevent that from happening, we're going to directly work with the dump sites, pay those fees directly so we know they're getting paid, so there is no logistical issue. And that will be backed off of the bill with Express. So we are working that into the contract.
Okay. And just, I mean, we keep saying Express, but there's, just to be frank here, I mean, Jeff Rizzo's involved with Express. I mean, so Jeff Rizzo was back in Rizzo Environmental. They understand the city. So, I mean, when we're just not going with someone here who is not involved and understands trash in St. Clair Shores, they understand trash in St. Clair Shores. They picked it up, and quite frankly, they did a very good job in their days, whatever happened past. But here in this community, they did an excellent job picking up the trash. Mr. Munham, I see theirs too, was a part of that organization. So we do keep saying Express, but we are dealing with people who have been involved in St. Clair Shores, know how to pick up trash, and I think that's why there's confidence here that we will see that in the past, because they did it in the past. So just so that it's all out on the books. With that, again, it was, those are my questions. So it was moved by Ms. Burgess, seconded by Mr. Karen to approve the proposal by Expressway Services, which is 22,001 Hoover, to provide solid waste services with the 18-month proposal. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. It's 7-0. I know the city and the residents, they speak on behalf of that, we're dying to move forward. So I think finally we have heard them and made that decision to move forward. So you got a lot riding on it, but I actually believe you can deliver. So we're counting on you. Item 7 is the consent agenda. Mr. Vitale?
Yeah, there is one item that I want to pull,
Sure.
but there's so many. I'm having to brush up on my Roman numerals here, and I don't think you're supposed to have lower cases and Roman numerals, so.
Well, just read it.
It would be 7G, and then
Yep.
I have lowercase I, but it is request to approve DPW cart blanket purchase order.
Okay.
The reason I wanted to pull that out is, I'm sorry. You gotta do-
I'll get right to you as soon as we get it.
Yep.
Anything- So you make a motion and everything else?
Yes, make a motion to approve.
Support.
The rest
Supported
of
by
the-
Mr. Frederick to approve everything else. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Back to you, Mr. Vitale, to ask questions regarding request to approve the DPW garbage cart blanket purchase order.
This does relate back a little bit to trash collection. This purchase order is to max out our garbage can purchasing while we are still under the current contract pricing, because everybody sees what's happening with oil prices. Garbage cans are made of oil. So we're looking to take advantage of, while we have that cost locked in at a lower rate, because we know it's going up. So we're going to max out that purchase order so that we can come in also fully stocked with garbage cans. So I just kind of wanted to explain why that was in there.
Okay.
Move it to approve.
And I will move to approve.
Support.
Any other questions? Moved by Mr. Vitale, supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I thank you. I just go back to that. I neglected to, I helped put together the trash committee, and it was the right thing to do to put a committee together, and I do appreciate Councilwoman Rusi, Councilman Vitale, and Councilman Frederick. You know, you don't see the time that these individuals put and doing these kinds of projects. They're, again, you don't see it, but it is a lot of work to do these kinds of things, and so I do really appreciate all the effort to that.
Honored to be a part of it.
Pardon me?
Honored to be a part of it.
I know you
It
were.
was a really good idea, Mayor.
Yeah, so I think it
Made it
really worked out,
easier.
and I really appreciate them. And again, I just, you know, these people work hard up here, and we don't always see it, and they are trying to do the best for the community and make a quality city. And garbage is a big part of making it a good city, I'll tell you that.
It is.
Picking it up
It's
at
the
the right
biggest
time. With that, we'll have updates and follow-ups. Number 8 by prior meetings, and I have one announcement. So, Mr. Lent.
Mr. Karen requested a follow-up on construction updates on the city website. The construction updates have now been added to the website as the communication team receives them from the community development. And as mentioned in this meeting, we will be working definitely with all of our contracts and projects and everything coming up, making sure that we keep a detailed list on that. And then also we had a resident in regards to a fence on Doremus. That has been sent to our legal, and they are analyzing that fence. And as soon as we get that back from legal, we will be able to have an update on that.
And then I have a quick announcement. It was last week I got the pleasure to say that we had Planet Fitness coming into the 9 Mile Kroger's over there. They're going to split that. Here is regarding the Hall's Nursery site, which is there across Barrister Gardens. I know it's been brought up a number of times with the property and looking a little bit in disarray. But we finally do have plans. They came in Friday for there. That is one building. It is a Culver's. That is what they are proposing, a Culver's there at the Hall's Nursery, single building only. A long way to go. Of course, you got to go through planning and ZBA, and it has to come in front of this body. But it has taken a little bit longer than I think we had all hoped. But that's what is now planned to go into the old Hall's Nursery site in there between 9 and 10 Mile Road on the east side there across from Barrister Gardens. So we'll see how that all works out. But is a single standing Culver's.
Gluten-free hamburger buns.
So with that, we will go to individual council members, and that'll be Mr. Rebello.
Thank you, Mayor. This weekend coming up, there's a June Fest at 9 Mile and Mac. And I want to throw out there, there's going to be a new event. It's called a mock rock lip sync. It starts at 3:30 at the main stage there. So you can be a star with your air guitar, mouth the words, you don't have to sing. So it's for all ages, it's free. Go on out there and have a good time at 9 Mile and Mac, the mock rock. So, like I said, new event. I wanted to read this, event coming up here. This is from my wife Greta. I wanted to share an exciting opportunity for residents to join in the sharing the spirit of America. As the regent of the Detroit chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, you are invited to a special public reading of the Declaration of Independence at Veterans Memorial Park as we commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration. Here are the words that changed the course of history, reflect on the courage of those who signed the Declaration, those who defended it, and those who continue to preserve its legacy. In partnership with America 250 Michigan, we will join all 50 states at one time in the 5 territories in a coordinated nationwide reading of the Declaration on July 8th. And it's going to be at Veterans Memorial Park, right? Okay. The historic reading will begin at 6 o'clock and create a unified moment of civic engagement across the entire country. So everyone will be doing this at the same time. July 8th was chosen for the simultaneous reading because it marks the anniversary of the very first public reading of the Declaration by Colonel John Nixon in Philadelphia on July 8th.
1776.
You know him?
No, I don't actually.
You got him.
I got him for the first time. Sorry. Our readers include the Daughters of the American Revolution, Sons of the American Revolution, St. Clair Shores Mayor and City Council members, Tuskegee Airmen, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, veterans, a Gold Star mother, and other elected officials. It begins at 5:30 p.m. and the public reading begins at about 6. It's free and open to the public, and all ages are welcome. We hope to see you there. So that's on July 8th at Veterans Memorial.
And I don't know if you said it, but I mean, this is being said around the country at 6 o'clock.
The entire country.
Yes, so this is
simultaneous.
Big.
I think, John, you might have, were you the one that reached out to the daughters? Okay, great idea. So that's that, and I just want to reiterate, with the project there on Jefferson Avenue, just leave the house about 5 minutes early than you would have left. Get down there and help them out a little bit, okay? So I know people have been doing it so far, but these are folks that they've donated to our causes and our fundraisers and things like that, and maybe they need a little bit back by now. So if you could maybe go out of your way instead of going here or going there, go stop in a nautical mile business, and that would be great. That's all I have, Mayor.
Get a Slurpee, too. We need it, 7-Eleven.
And a cold beer from Baffin.
There you go.
I did get a Slurpee today, by the way.
And you get Slurpees at Baffin too, but not for kids.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. First off, want to just express some thank yous to the parade, Memorial Day Parade Committee, the volunteers, the participants, and the spectators who made the parade another fabulous event we all could be proud of in the city. Like the committee members, and Dave, I know.
Like the Cherry Queen. She came from Traverse City.
He does like the Cherry Queen. She came from Traverse City, but they put in hours and hours and hours and hours and literally hours of work behind the scenes all year round to help make the parade what you see go down Harper. It takes a lot of organization. I don't know if people all the time realize just how much effort it takes to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people and vehicles and marching bands and everything lined up and down in an orderly fashion. And it's the committee members not only doing the logistics, but reaching out to these participants and getting them to commit to St. Clair Shores and come to St. Clair Shores. So, or to build floats, or to buy hundreds of dollars of candy to bring it out to distribute to the kids, or to, not go up to, their cottage that weekend, but instead to spend their weekend putting smiles on people's faces all up and down the street. So it's 2 miles, it's lined with people, it's as a participant, is absolutely just overwhelming. You're walking 2 miles and literally every step you take, there's a kid smiling, there's a family having fun, there's senior citizens, there's people with veterans hat and paraphernalia. So everything is just amazing to see how much joy this brings people for the community, and it's all thanks to the committee members and the volunteers who give up a lot of time to make you able to have this event with your family. So thank you to the parade committee and to Dave as a parade committee liaison for all the work you guys put in. It was another, even with, the rain held out. The rain held out enough.
It's really weird. It was only like 8 days ago or something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you for that, and also thank you to the VFW, Bruce Post, and the community chorus. I don't know if people are aware of this as much as they should be, but they host a really, really wonderful memorial service at Veterans Memorial Park that morning, 9 a.m. I wish more people would come out, bring their kids, bring their families. It's about 45 minutes to an hour long, but it's what the day is about. And with the community chorus especially involved, they perform some songs. It's just a really moving way to commemorate what Memorial Day and the holiday is about. So put that on your calendar for next year. That Sunday, same day as the parade, 9 a.m., Veterans Memorial Park. Come out, give up a little bit of your time in the morning. You will definitely want to come back every year afterwards. It is very meaningful. I want to just say thank you to everyone who came out to Caught in the Villain's Web, the SES Players production last month in May, and thank you to Scott Smith, the director. Dave and I were in it. Dave had a little bigger of a role than I had.
Bigger, scarier.
Yeah, he had like 30 lines. I had like 2, so it was a lot bigger. But it was a fun event. That was both our first time being involved in anything like that, and the people we performed with, and Scott and everyone were just wonderful to work with, all the volunteers. I mean, we were involved building the scenes, and you see the guy who does the lighting and the music cues. He's a volunteer too, and it takes a lot of people. No one's getting paid to do this, but people are putting in a lot of time to give up their time, their time with their family, their talents, their efforts in making these things happen in the community. So thank you to everyone who came out to support all these volunteers in Caught in the Villain's Web, directed by Scott Smith at St. Margaret's, St. Clair Shores Players production. They have a musical coming up in the fall that will have auditions. It will be Khan the Musical, which I guess is the Star Trek thing. This one will be a musical. I will not be in it, but if that sounds like it's up your alley, definitely watch the St. Clair Shores Players Facebook page. They'll be posting when auditions are open. It's a great group to work with to get your feet wet. If you've never, ever done anything like this before, or if you've done a lot of these, you'll have a wonderful experience either way. A lot of stuff going on. Thank you, Waterfront Committee, National Nautical Coast Cleanup, for the committee to put that on, and also for all the volunteers who came out. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I wasn't able to give some of these acknowledgements, but, and finally, question for Rob. We have a couple of updates coming up at Kite Monroe for the pickleball courts that were funded halfway by the Shorewood Kiwanis, which is wonderful, and also a playground that we use some block grant and grant money for. What are the updates on getting these things ready for playing opportunities for people?
So the playground at Kite Monroe is fully installed. They're doing the poured in place this week. So I'm hoping by end of this week, that playground may be usable. If not, it should be early next week. The pickleball courts and the tennis courts were painted end of last week. The striping and the nets is supposed to be finished early this week. So those should be open for play by the end of this week, and then we'll have a grand opening later this month.
Okay, that's fantastic. And we'll do the, some sort of ceremony. I know Kiwanis is involved in the pickleball one. We'll do something for the playground too, right?
Yep, we'll plan something with
Yeah,
the
I remember
playground
the one
committee.
we did for the fireman-themed playground. That was really fun and a nice way to get some, get people aware of the project and to come out and check it out. So maybe we can get something advertised for that too. I think it's a wonderful thing for the north end. It's a nice upgrade to what had been there, and this definitely moving it makes it more of a neighborhood type playground too, not just a little play structure your younger kid might play on while your older kid's playing baseball. It makes it a little more of a destination for the playground in specific.
It's great, and it really, if you're coming down Harper from the north, it does stand out quite a bit. So visually, it's much more accessible to
And
people.
it's themed, baseball themed, which is really appropriate, which I really like because we did the hockey themed one too by Civic Arena. So it keeps in line with the theming and making it, again, like you said, more of a landmark type attention getter for the facility itself. So very good. Okay, no, a lot of good stuff going on. And thank you for again, Dustin and Matt for your work, and my colleagues on the garbage committee. It was a great outcome, I think, for the city. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, actually following up on the Kiwanis donation for the pickleball courts. So we're going to be targeting, a lot of emails going back and forth today, Monday, June 22nd. We'll get details of time and what will go on to dedicate the new pickleball courts and tennis courts at Kite Monroe that we've been working on with the Kiwanis to have that final dedication. So right now, it's tentatively set for Monday, June 22nd, up at Kite Monroe. And also, I've been going back and forth with our engineer on the senior center bocce ball courts. There's basically when the structures first came down, seniors kind of came forward and said, hey, we haven't seen any other work going on. According to the engineer, there's a bit of back and forth about the new structure between our engineers and our building officials. They got that all worked out. The permit's been finalized. The construction company now has the permit, and according to Eric at Fishbeck, they plan on mobilizing starting next Monday, June 8th, to start building a new structure and then put in the new bocce ball courts at the senior center. And Eric is working on still getting me a timeline of how long that's going to take with the company and that. So, yeah, so maybe Denise, if you have any, I know you meet with them every week. If you can make sure that project's on their list, because it's not as big of all the other ones that Fishbeck is doing, but I did warn them of, hey, the seniors want to use their bocce ball courts this summer, so you got to get that done. And since as long as this meeting's been, that is all I'm going to talk about.
Wow, thank you. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. Putting pressure on me again, Jan. Thanks. So I'm going to start with library announcements because there's only a few, right? So get ready for a summer full of reading, prizes, creativity, and fun. The 2026 Summer Reading Program Plant a Seed and Read officially kicks off June 29th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. right here in the City Council chambers. A detailed list of activities can be found on the library's website or in the newsletter if you're a friend of the library. Also join the library on June 25th at 6 p.m. in council chambers for a special presentation from Wild Birds Unlimited on berries, bugs, and snags gardening for birds. So that's in the library. We're still working towards getting that sucker open. We're close. All right. Couple other things here. This Saturday is Blessing of the Fleet. I think they were at the council meeting, the last council meeting, and I was not here. And that, I think that's at what, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. Also, Monster Quest. It's a bass fishing tournament. You'll see some very expensive bass boats in the neighborhood, and that's coming up June 27th. And the greatest thing is that a lot of the Nautical Mile businesses are participating in that, so there'll be discounts and some ways to save some money in those businesses if you get up there during the week before and the day of the bass tournament. Also, speaking of the Nautical Mile, I know we're always pushing the restaurants, and we talked about a couple other businesses, but you've got the Wine Dock, it's a party store. You got Stroh's Ice Cream up there. That's always fun, especially as it gets warm out. Donna Flaherty over at Gifts Afloat, the boat stores, the gas stations, and even one of the little Tasty Burger in the gas station area. Everybody seems to forget about that. At least that's what he said. So don't forget about that. Dave mentioned June Fest. We got the concerts coming up. So we're pretty excited about that. I also wanted to mention on Friday, July 10th, the Optimist Club of St. Clair Shores. You can find this on their Facebook page. This is the 4th annual scholarship golf outing. And the great thing about that is we just gave out a bunch of scholarships for the last couple of weeks to Lakeview, Lakeshore, and South Lake grads, as well as North Lake, and it's scholarships and awards. And this is what it's all about. You come out, you have a good time, spend a couple of bucks, and that money goes right back into scholarships. So it's at our golf course at St. Clair Shores Golf Club. It's going to be Friday, July 10th, $125 a person, 8 a.m. registration, 9 o'clock shotgun start. There is a hole-in-one prize, and there's a bunch of other prizes that I know Mr. Rebello and myself will be out there trying to get from folks. So put that in your calendar, Friday, July 10th. If you can't find where to sign up, if you want to play or actually donate a prize, just call me, and I'm on the website. We talked about Monster Quest and visiting the Nautical Mile, and we've got a couple other things coming up, but they're later in the. We'll talk to them about next time. So, Mayor, thank you, and thanks everybody for your help on the garbage center.
Mr. Vitale.
I will try to keep it short. It's been a long meeting, a lot of stuff, and we've got actually quite a few people in the audience tonight who stuck around for the whole meeting. So I don't know what to make of that, but I guess we'll find out. One thing I wanted to mention is the Elger Pump Station roof and just the general condition of the building was brought to my attention by a resident. There's was a goose that flew up there, so I'm not saying they put a ladder there and making sure the goose was safe, but they said that roof is pretty scary looking. So maybe we should have somebody give us a report on the condition of that building. I know there's a lot of weed trees growing around it as well, so I think it needs some maintenance. Two items that I were hoping would be on the updates were the Qdoba. I have a little bit idea what's going on with that, but I mean, maybe residents should know too. Also, I did bring to staff's attention, and this wasn't at the meeting, but the Clean Wash Car Wash has got a lot of dead landscaping that was part of their site plan.
Yep.
So, that Qdoba site plan, there's where they at with that, and so I would like updates on those items.
Denise, can you get that out then this week? Yep. Thank you.
So that was all I've got.
Thank you. Ms. Burgess.
Thank you. Councilman Frederick had mentioned about the Blessing of the Fleet. Just wanted to reiterate that Saturday, June 6th, kicking off at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Watermark Bar and Grill, hosted by the Jefferson Yacht Club. And it is a blessing for a safe boating season. They're going to have memorial bells, so if you've lost anybody this year, that you can submit that name. They're gonna have some live music going on there. So get there early, get yourself a seat. They've got a bar, get yourself a nice morning mimosa, and enjoy the day there. Also, very, very excited about June 20th is our Wine on the Water event hosted by Cool City. And that is our third year. It's been a tremendous success. We have 300 tickets on sale, to go on sale. Don't know where we're at with that. Rob, did you have an updated? Okay, great. So anyways, it's $45 per person. You get wine pours and samples. There's a charcuterie box you're gonna be getting, dessert, late night pizza, live DJ, photo booth. They're gonna have an art exhibit by some of our schools. Tickets are on sale now. You have to be purchased in advance at the Civic Center at 220,000 Stevens. And get your tickets because they're gonna go fast. Last year, we were sold out. So I'm really excited about it. It's a great event. It's outside at Blossom Heath by the beach house. And I really enjoyed it last year, so I'm really looking forward to it. Also, this Wednesday night is our first Wednesday Music in the Park, and I'm very, very upset I won't be able to be there, but it is going to be the Lawson Brothers, which is country music, so come on out. Starts at 7, goes to 8:30. Going to have some food trucks out there, and it'll be a great time. Just feels like summer now when all these events are starting to take place. And of course, second week in June on Saturday is our social district downtown. Who's playing? Do you know? Not off the bat? Neither do I.
Van Halen.
Oh, music of Van Halen, that's cool.
No, he's just making that up.
Oh, you're just making it up?
He's being silly.
So, but I'm really
That's not
excited
right.
about the Culvers too. That's really,
being silly.
yeah, you're messing with me. Thanks a
Yes.
lot. I'm tired. It's 10 o'clock. My bedtime's 9. But I also just want to say thank you to all the committee all the work you did on that trash contract. And I'm glad that you guys stayed to the end too. I'm looking so forward to never having to talk to you. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 10 is City Manager Report. Mr. Lent.
No report today.
Item 11 is audience participation. It's a 5-minute time limit. Views, opinions expressed under audience participation are those of the individual citizen only, do not necessarily represent views, opinions of the mayor, city council, administration, City of St. Clair Shores. I'll call on the people. Yes, ma'am. We just need your name and the city you reside in, and then if you don't mind, sign in after you speak. Thank you.
Adra Calhoun, St. Clair Shores. One of the things that I noticed, I have a suggestion. I noticed when this body discussed various projects, you use a lot of acronyms like CDI, DDA. It would be helpful for people at home and also for people in the audience if we know what those departments or agencies were.
Okay.
But what brought me out tonight? I am a proud military spouse, and I appreciate the fact that the city of St. Clair Shores closes its doors or closes its offices to honor veterans. I want to know, why is the golf course an exception?
Okay, I don't know that answer, so, but I understand you're right, it's open, yep.
What I would also like to say, if the city of St. Clair Shores as a whole want to honor veterans, all departments should be closed. I think that people can do without golf for one day when you consider the sacrifices that veterans have made. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If you sign in, be great. Yes, sir?
My name is Leon Allen. I am a citizen of St. Clair Shores. I live on Newberry. I had a statement set up I wrote some stuff down until I sat in here and listened to y'all. I'm going to start this like this. On May 19th, 2026, I sent the email to each council member up there. Still haven't gotten a reply. Also sent the email to the chief of police. Still haven't gotten a reply. Now, I understand the infrastructure is important. It's old, it needs to be repaired, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the safety of the citizens. I live 2 blocks south of Jefferson and 9 Mile. When they had the construction 2 years ago, same thing. People zooming up and down that street. I mean, 45, 50 miles an hour. I myself have almost been rear-ended. My wife has almost been rear-ended trying to pull into our driveway. I have watched the same thing with my neighbors. The last time that the construction was over, that's when I met Lieutenant Stinson. And I showed him a video from my home security camera of my daughter pulling out the driveway and almost getting T-boned because the driver was going too fast. Lieutenant Stinson's statement to me at that time, well, it'll work out in court because you got the proof she had the right of way. But if my daughter would have got hit or her car would have got T-boned, that wouldn't have stopped the pain and suffering of my family. I found that statement to be inappropriate at that time. On May 19th, when I sent each one of y'all an email and the police chief, or the chief of police, I was almost hit head on because the driver's driving too fast because they don't want to go into that one lane, how it breaks down on 9 Mile to lead into Jefferson. Now they turn off on Marylbarn and come down Newberry, my street. As I'm pulling up to the stop sign, the lady was going so fast, she couldn't even make the turn. She's all up on the sidewalk on the corner. When I asked Lieutenant Stinson, what happens when somebody do lose their life or get injured? He tells me, well, that's what everybody says. He again gives me Lieutenant Crook's number, who I also left a message for. Lieutenant Crooks did call me 2 days later. I asked Lieutenant Crooks, well, can we put up a sign that said, this is your speed, slow down? Maybe. I asked Lieutenant Crooks, well, that officer that sits in that parking lot on 9 Mile across from the McDonald's for up to 45 minutes, can we probably get him or her to go over on Newberry and spend a little time? Oh, well, I got to look into it. That officer that sits at the high school parking lot for another 45, 50 minutes every day. I asked, well, can we move that officer over there? Oh, well, he's on traffic detail. Well, this is traffic. I asked, well, that Ford, what is it, the SUV that sits up on 9 Mile and 94 for about 25 to 30 minutes every day at the same time. Can we move that individual? No. I asked, well, can we deploy the little Mustang, the unmarked? Oh, we only use that on special occasions. But it's a police vehicle and it's unmarked. It's used for traffic. I asked, can we put a unmarked car over there? Oh, yeah, well, Mr. Allen, give me a time. I give him a time. We ain't seen it. We have children, and yes, my whole block know about the little girl named Miss Sophia on there. She's autistic. Her father don't even let her come out in the front yard and play no more. I didn't watch residents because a lot of people on my block in the evening walks their dogs. They're scared to cross that little street that pours into Newberry. We need some help. And yeah, and for neither one of y'all to respond to my email, that's sad.
Didn't
But I
get
just,
Looking for
I can show it to you, ma'am.
I can show you mine
No,
too.
no, we're
Okay,
not getting
May
into this.
19th.
This is
But
his
then
5
here's
minutes.
the other thing. Here's the other thing, though, ma'am. When I asked to meet with your police chief, I'm told by Lieutenant Stittens, no, he don't meet with the residents. When I talked to his assistant later on that day, oh, well, he'll get back to you. He still ain't got back to me.
Okay.
I mean, what brought this to a head to me wasn't all these accidents. My grandson, who plays basketball in my driveway, I do not allow that rim to go in the street. It stays in my driveway. When he's done, it goes in my garage.
Okay.
The Friday before that, that boy rolled out into the street, and he was called a racial slur and threatened. Nah, I heard this lady say she's a military
Sir, your
vet.
5 minutes is up. I mean, a little bit, just end up, I'll give you another second here to
I heard her say that I'm a military vet. I suffer from PTSD.
Sure.
Somebody do something to my grandson, y'all gonna look and say, well, my response was wrong. I'm coming here begging for help.
Okay, I understand your questions, your concerns. Thank you. Did you sign in, sir? And you had your email on there, would be great too. Anyone else? Mr. Rizzo?
Hi, Jeff Rizzo with Express Waste. Mr. Mayor, council members, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to service St. Clair Shores for the next waste removal contract. We're honored to be back in the city. You know, I know you guys said that the bar is low. In our minds, it's very high because of, you know, us only being, this is the second community that we've been we're going to be servicing. So in our minds, we have to come in and deliver very top-notch service the way we used to back in the day. And I also just want to make a note that Dan Garman and Joe Munum also were with me back in the RES days. So they're very familiar with the city as well. So again, I just want to thank you again. It's been a long night. Thanks so much for everything.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Just sign in, Jeff.
Thank you.
Ma'am? Just your name and the city you reside in, and then sign in after, if you don't mind. Pull that.
I'm glad I came down today. It was a very interesting meeting. I'm Denny Mativier. I stay on Taylor Street, just off 12 Mile. And you guys remember we had all that flooding when they were doing the construction on 12 Mile. I was out there in the road up to here in water, pulling stuff out of the street that had floated down the street. And I found out that my driveway, at the bottom of my driveway, everything sunk down. There's a sewer by the fire hydrant next door. The water is not getting to that because of that sunken. I had to take a rake and clear that sewer so that the water could, you know, escape down there. And also, I've got a question. I am biking right now. My bike is out there in the hall. I actually fell on my face on Memorial Day, and it's cleared up a lot. It was pretty black and blue. So my question is, why don't we have bike lanes in the city? I fell behind Village Market because the sidewalk goes like this, and then that way, and the building's right, you know, it's flush right with the sidewalk. Now, I understand the infrastructure is the way it is, but I could not take that turn, and I ended up on Martin Road on my face.
Terrible.
So I guess my question is, could we consider getting some bike lanes in? Because I had to ride down the sidewalk all the way down Jefferson.
Bike lanes have been kicked around over the years, so it's.
I just wanted to point that out.
Sure.
Oh, and talking trash, my grandson graduated from Lakeshore. So my son on Francis Street had tons of debris out, you know, lawn debris, and they did not pick that up till Saturday morning. So luckily it was before guests arrived for our event. So I'm glad that you're going to try another company. And those guys over there, I guess they left. So that's all I had to say. And once again, I'm glad that I came to the council meeting, and thank you.
Thank you.
Hello all, I'm Joan Thomas, I'm in St. Clair Shores. I live close to the church on 13 and Greater Mac. And there is a clothes and shoes bin. I call it the garbage bin.
Okay.
Because people are just stacking it all around the thing, furniture, all kinds of stuff. And people are coming and garbage picking. I don't feel like real comfortable with that. It's making me a little nervous because I'm thinking, what if they come in my yard and take something, you know? And it's the church parking lot has got other issues too. But the pastor supposedly said it's going away, but it's still there. And it takes 2 days. People are pulling stuff out of it, then leaving it all around it. It's very frustrating, and I want something done about that.
Okay.
And then the main reason I came today was for the garbage. So I try to be considerate when I'm doing my garbage. Oh, I know it's gonna rain. The waste people don't come till 7 o'clock at night, so I got time. So I don't put it out, they come at 7 in the morning. It's very hard to, try to be considerate to them so the bag doesn't get all wet and falls out. It's just been, that has been very frustrating. So, and they didn't come till Saturday for my waste,
Right,
and that's happened many times.
yep.
The leakage right in front of my house, next door, and somebody says on Facebook or whatever it was, oh, don't put your oil in the garbage. I don't think a lot of people are doing that. I think it's their trucks that are leaking.
Agreed.
And I'm glad that maybe something good is going to be coming out of this. I'm very happy about that. So thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
We could do something about that garbage bill.
All right, yes.
That's what I call it.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Evening.
I promise this will end on a high note. I'm Sarah Hadar. As some of you know, I've been here a couple times. I'm from Clair of Southeastern Michigan.
Yep.
I help run the SNAP Coalition, which is the Shores for Network and Action and Prevention. Unfortunately, I missed when you voted for the Kratom ordinance. My daughter was making her confirmation at St. Joan of Arc, so I wasn't here. But I appreciate all of the hard work that you guys put forward on that ordinance. I did see Mr. Rebel had posted about it, and so we were excited at CARE and at SNAP for how you voted. So thank you for that. I'm actually here for something else today. I'm actually here for a couple different things. I wanted to mention that we have a camp, a leadership camp, that is taking place at Kennedy Middle School. This is a free camp. It's for 6th to 8th graders. And so at the leadership camp, we help with activities that increase resiliency and self-esteem, team building. We help to empower students. So that is actually going to be taking place on July 27th through the 31st. It's from 8:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. If you go to CARE's website, you're able to register for it on that as well. I'm going to pass out some flyers for you, so I just wanted to let the community know that that's free. So again, it's for 6th to 8th graders at Kennedy Middle School. We also are hosting a Michigan Recovery Con Film and Festival. That's going to be taking place at the MISD. That is on Friday, June 26th, and that's from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. I know it's not in St. Clair Shores, but we are actually holding a youth panel. And so we're trying to go to different cities throughout Macomb, just to letting the elected officials know that the youth panel will be presented by students from 4 to 5:30. And they're just going to be talking about substance use and mental health throughout their cities. So if you're interested, I do have a little flyer here for that as well. And then I know that many of you have also attended the SNAP meeting. Again, that is the first Thursday of each month, currently being held at, and that's at 4 p.m. It's currently being held at Senator Hertel's office. That might be changing with the, current political stance right now as far as him running for election again. So that could be a different place, but I will be back to let you know if that changes. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ma'am, if you could just sign in, that would be great. Thank you. Name and address, then sign in after.
Mark Dreger, St. Clair Shores.
Yes.
Here's everything I was going to complain about. Let's go in here. You guys did a good job today. I'll let you know that. That's how I feel. I feel like you guys did a lot of work. You had to come up with a budget. You had to deal with the garbage. The only thing you're wrong about the garbage is there'll never, ever be another Don Beretta. My aunt was married to him. I'm sorry, my aunt was married to his brother, Nick. And Don taught me how to drive truck when I was 18, so there'll never be another man like that. But I'm glad to see we got Rizzo back, because he's just like Don. He's been in this industry for years. So I'll complain to you at the next meeting. I signed.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, it's been late. We'll go back to the mayor's comments. I don't have any, so we'll have a request to meet in closed session as permitted by state statute MCLA 15.268, Section 8C.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Frederick. Abby will need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rusi?
Aye.
Councilmember Frederick?
Aye.
Councilmember Burgess?
Aye.
Councilmember Karen?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubello?
Aye.
Councilmember Vitale?
Aye.
And Mayor Walby?
Aye. Good night.